What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 11 Hectoliters Chapter 261 Recover Shadow Kill and Start Planning. But what Jiali didn't expect was that the silver sword suddenly disappeared when it was 2 meters close to his confinement space. Jiali did not dare to be careless and did not remove the ability to suspend time and space. However, as time went by, the sequelae of the serious injury to Jiali's soul began appear. At this moment, Jelly spit out a mouthful of blood, closed his eyes, and the injured Jelly soul fell into a deep sleep. Kagaya Heim's soul takes over the body. But how could Kagaya have this terrifying ability to suspend time and space? He could only let this ability disappear around him, and the moment this ability disappeared, a silver sword appeared in front of Kagaya again. Kagaya could not avoid it, so she could only close her eyes and raise her right hand in a final struggle. However, Kagayaji's right hand stretched out, but she did not feel the pain for a long time. I wondered if the silver sword didn't stab her, it was just a fake attack. At this moment, Kagaya opened his white eyes and looked at the silver sword close at hand. I saw this silver sword being held by a broad and powerful hand with only 2 fingers. The sword kept trembling, as if trying to escape, and the owner of the big hand was wrapped in a blue aura. The aura looked extremely gentle, but was full of terrifying energy. The owner of the big hand chuckled and said, "Kagaya, do you miss Xiaoqi?" After hearing this, Kagaya-ji came back to her senses, her cheeks were slightly red, and she spat at Nanahoshi, "I'm not serious." When Shadow Kill saw this terrifying blue figure, the aura escaping from his body had reached the ultimate level of transcendence, the 9th level. Looking at that guy's strong body, Shadow Killer had to doubt that even his own star weapon, the Dragon Silver Sword, might not be able to pierce this guy's body. At this time, Shadow Killer's body shook for a while, and another Shadow Killer walked out from behind. This guy opened his mouth wide and sucked out all the gray around him. Then both guys disappeared in front of Qixing, but it was useless. Qixing's system was not a decoration. I saw that wherever Yingxia's body moved, Qixing's eyes could see that way. This made Shadow Kill very depressed. Why does this guy know my location? Damn it, can he sense my existence? But as long as I hide, not even heaven will be able to discover my existence. Why can this guy find out? Forget it, just kill Jiali and leave here. I still don't believe there is anyone in this Pure Land world who is faster than me. Thinking of this, the 2 Shadow Killer figures flashed at the same time, reaching the ultimate speed. The clone took the lead and stabbed Qixing's face with the silver dagger. Qixing had already opened the realm, the infinite airspace. But space seems to not exist in front of this guy, and he can actually penetrate his own domain space. Seeing this scene, Qixing chuckled, "Haha, not bad ability. But you are not strong enough." I saw Qixing's right hand stretched out and opened suddenly. The silver dagger seemed to be attracted by some force and went straight into Qixing's hand. The next moment, Qixing's right index finger and thumb directly grasped the dagger. At this moment, Shadow Kill's body saw Qixing's hands occupied. Since he has no other skills at all, this is a great opportunity for him to kill Jiali. How could Yingxia miss such a good opportunity? Looking at Yingxia again, his already invisible body became even more invisible at this moment. Under this invisible figure, this guy's speed exceeded 100 times the speed of sound at this moment. The silver dagger in his hand appeared, and he appeared in an instant. Behind Kagaya-ji, the dagger stabbed Kagaya-ji in the heart. But the expected splatter of blood didn't happen. When the shadow was being killed, Kagaya-ji in front of him had already disappeared without a trace, and was replaced by Qixing's strong body. Advertisement big hands as solid as a vice. Just now, the moment Shadow Kill stabbed Kagaya-ji, Qixing directly took Kagaya-ji into the Tianji Tower, and exchanged his position with Kagaya-ji. Because Yingxia was too fast, he didn't have time to stop. The dagger had already penetrated Qixing's body, but Yingxia only felt the dagger pierce into a piece of iron body. That feeling was not the feeling of being stabbed into the flesh at all, and Qixing's big hand opened slightly and slammed towards the door in front of Shadow Killer. Shadow Killer, who had just made a move to dodge, forcefully received the slap with his face. At this moment, Yingxia only felt doubtful about his life. I am so fast, why can't I avoid this guy's big hand? Yingxia, who was covering his face, had stars in his eyes, and quickly backed away with his legs, obviously not believing that Qixing could see his movements clearly. Then the figure disappeared in the void, and a dagger appeared again above Qixing's head. Qixing's big hand reached into the void, but found nothing. At the same time, the system's guidance discovered that this guy Yingxia actually escaped at this time. But how could Qixing let Yingxia leave? I saw him yelling loudly at the sky, covering the sky with one hand. I saw that the sky that had been clear just now was suddenly covered with dark clouds, and the dark clouds instantly formed a supergiant hand hiding thunder, shooting towards Yingxia fiercely. Shadow Shah still wanted to struggle, so he turned around and hid in the dark space. But when the big hand falls, no matter what time and space Yingxia lives in, as long as he has the mark of the 7 stars on his body, it is impossible to escape the big hand that covers the sky. And the moment the big hand fell, only a scream was heard. Shadow Shah's body was shot thousands of meters deep into the ground. Even though he is a killer who transcends the 9th level, he still has many broken bones in his body. Qixing put away his magical power, and the blue figure moved 3 kilometers ahead as if teleporting. Then he stepped hard on the ground, and Yingsha's body was directly shaken out of the ground by Qixing. At this time, Shadow Kill was already dying. That big hand that covers the sky is so terrifying that it was actually filmed from the dark space-time Vice Admiral Shadow Killer. Although it seems to the naked eye that it is only shot from the sky to the earth, in fact it is shot from a space of tens of thousands of kilometers. Kill down. Qixing looked at Yingsha and only asked, "Want to live or die?" The weak Yingsha nodded firmly. Qixing took out a scroll and said, "Inject your soul power into the scroll, and you will be back to your original state in an instant." The half-disabled Shadow Killer, half believing and half doubtful, forcibly drove the soul power to imprint the scroll. Sure enough, Qixing did not lie to him. The moment the contract was reached, a golden light enveloped Yingsha. The next moment, an intact Yingsha appeared in front of Qixing. At this moment, Yingsha looked at Qixing's young face with confusion. "I couldn't help but sigh. Master Jia Li has a guardian like you. I think no one can kill him." Qixing turned to look at Yingsha and said with a smile, "No, you said the opposite. He is my guardian." When Yingsha heard this, he couldn't believe it. A strong man like you still needs someone to protect you. Chapter 262 The Pure Land Devouring Plan is ready. Hearing these unbelievable words, Qixing shook his head, non-committal. "I don't want to explain too much. Okay. Let's not talk about this anymore. Now that we have another helper, it's just right that the Pure Land Devouring Plan can begin. Kagaya, come out." As soon as the words fell, Kagaya Ji's figure suddenly appeared behind Qixing. As soon as Kagaya Ji appeared, he saw Shadow Kill standing next to Qixing. He was not surprised and just chuckled, "It's done so quickly." Qixing nodded. Then he looked at the sky and said, "How's it going? It's been so many days, hasn't the integration been successful yet?" When Yingsha heard Qixing talking to the sky, he couldn't help but look at the sky curiously. There was nothing there. "My lord, who are you talking to?" However, after waiting for a long time and receiving no answer from Qixing, they discovered that the dark clouds in the sky formed a huge black face. The black face opened and closed its mouth, and a huge sound reached the ears of the three of them. The sound was deafening, as if it was going to kill people on the spot. After Yingsha heard the sound, he covered his ears and fell to the ground to roll. However, he was surprised. Why were his new master and Lord Jia Li not affected in any way? At this moment, Shadow Kill could only choose to fall into the dark space, but even so, the figure was like a maggot attached to the bone, following the soul. In the end, there was no choice but to come to Qixing to seek help from his new master. But just after entering the 3-meter range of Qixing, the voice that seemed to be attached to the soul suddenly disappeared. Shadow Shah finally breathed a sigh of relief and looked at Qixing curiously. "I really don't know what this master is capable of. Even though he can't even hurt such a terrifying existence. Then he still needs to be AF ***** G guardian. Do they have that kind of relationship? Damn." Thinking of this, Yingsha suddenly felt that he had discovered his master's secret, and then he didn't dare to think about it anymore, and stood behind him obediently like a good baby. At this moment, the consciousness of Heavenly Tao saw that the sound of cicadas in the void could not hurt this boy at all, and finally understood. The contract I signed that time was definitely not as simple as it seemed. "Boy, I am the controller of the Pure Land, please respect me." "Oh, really? Are the controllers of the Pure Land very powerful? Now, I'm afraid you can't even use 1/10 of the power of the laws of this world. Are you sure that you can also be called the controller of the Pure Land? You are not even half as good as Shinigami now. He has even cultivated a new heavenly way to take your place. Why do you think I want to rescue you? Because I know that only Heavenly Tao of the same level can compete with Heavenly Tao." "What are you talking about? You just said that B********** D Shinigami has cultivated a new way of heaven. B******** D. I said why I have been severely blocked from using the power of the world in the past few days. I thought it was the reason why I have not recovered. Now that I think about it, it seems that as you said, there is another guy secretly competing with me for control of this world. Thinking about the awareness of Tiandao here, I feel a little panicked. If he relies on him alone to deal with a newly born Tiandao, he still has a few confidence, but if he adds a Shinigami who has reached the realm of false gods, he has basically no chance of winning." But at this moment he thought of Qixing again. "Boy, as long as you help me devour that guy, you have the final say in this world from now on." Hearing this, Qixing laughed loudly. "I wonder if you don't understand the current situation. This Pure Land world has always been decided by me, whether it's you, Shinigami, or other powerful people. I'm not afraid at all. You know the Pure Land world is just a stepping stone for me." Advertisement, HMPH. If you absorb the heavenly way of the ninja world and still cannot reflect your value, don't worry, I will take back all your rights. You dare. HMPH, I will be able to get back those things that are under my control soon. Don't be so proud, kid. Seeing Qixing shaking his head, Tiandao will seem to see himself being despised, and said angrily, "Kid, you look down on me." "Nonsense, look at you now. It takes several days to absorb even the elementary world's heaven. No matter what, I can only give you one more day. If you can't absorb the ninja world's heaven, then you have no value. You will know the consequences when the time comes." When has Tiandao been so angry at this moment? Those guys in the past were all trying to please themselves, but this kid is just the opposite. About to get angry, interrupted by Qixing's rescue. Okay, no more nonsense, I will call you again when I need you. After saying these words, the blue flames around Qixing surged and transformed into a big hand covering the sky. With just a slight slap, the heavenly path transformed by the dark clouds instantly disappeared. Dissipated between heaven and earth. Immediately, several people heard a cursive call that spread throughout the space. After dismissing the useless Tiandao, Qixing also removed the transformation state, his body returned to normal, and his strength also dropped to the 5th level of transcendence. He looked at Kagaya next to him and began to make plans for the next step. You need to return to the Kingdom of Kai. Clean up the cancer of the Kingdom of Kai and regain control of the Kingdom of Kai. I know that your strength is slowly recovering. This is a magical pill. It can restore you to the 7th level of transcendence. Shadow, you follow Kagaya Heim. Hearing Qixing's arrangement, Kagaya immediately waved his hand. Shao Qixing, no need, Yingsha will follow you. I know you will be in trouble even when you go. Don't worry, the strength beyond the 7th level is enough to deal with everything in the Kingdom of Evil, not to mention Gigi as a helper. Okay. Then be careful. Kindness. After finishing her words, Kagaya Ji took the elixir containing terrifying divine power and gently put it into her mouth. In an instant, the breath all over her body began to flow upwards. With every breath, the strength is improving by a small level. In less than 10 breaths, Kagaya Ji's 4th level of transcendence has been elevated to the 7th level of transcendence. Go straight to the top of the 7th level. Watching this scene, Yingsha drooled. Nah, this new master is a wealthy man. When will I, Yingsha, be treated like this? If I take that pill, I can break through to the pseudo-god realm. Next time I must behave well in front of this new master. Maybe he will reward me with one when he is happy. Thinking of this, Yingsha looked at Qixing's back, his face turned into a chrysanthemum smile. Qixing and Kagaya were looking back when they suddenly saw Yingsha's face. They looked at each other and couldn't help but wonder, does this guy have any special quirks? Damn all the people I accepted. Chapter 263. Divine Power Pill, Enhance the Strength of Subordinates, Plan Unfolds. When Kagaya heard Nanahoshi's words, she covered her mouth and chuckled. The magnificence of that moment made Qixing and Yingsha fascinated. Following Kagaya Ji's slight cough, the two grown men looked at each other without blushing or heartbeat. But soon, Qixing forgot about it, because not far away, the subordinates summoned by Qixing have arrived here one after another. I saw a fat man walking in the front, his mouth full of oil. He must have filled his stomach again before he came here. Behind the fat man was walking quickly a strong man with a muscular body and 2 horns on his head. Who else could these two guys be if they weren't a fat tiger and a wild bull? The 3 of them have been separated for 3 years after entering the secret realm, but the improvement in strength of these 2 guys can be described as a miracle. Man Niu's strength has now reached the 1st level of transcendence. And Fat Tiger's strength has crossed from the late stage of Super Shadow when he entered the secret realm, to the realm of 6 paths, to the late stage of immortal level now. This span is not small. But this is also understandable, because the flow rate of time in the secret realm is different from that in the outside world. In the outside world, the secret realm of the Tomb of Gods has only been open for a month, but in the secret realm, 3 years have passed. Fat Tiger must have had a great opportunity in the secret realm of the Tomb of Gods. Others are looking for divine corpses to refine, but this guy is looking for food everywhere. It can't be the same. The 2 of them walked in front of Da Qixing and knelt down on one knee. This subordinate has met your excellency. Okay, get up and wait. After saying that, the 2 stood up and looked at Kagaya Ji and Shadow Shah behind Qixing. Although Fat Tiger and Man Niu didn't know these 2 people, it must not be simple just seeing these 2 people standing behind Qixing. When Fat Tiger and Man Niu walked behind Qixing, 2 figures walked up from the distance again. I saw a person wearing tight-fitting leather armor, with an extremely fiery figure, exquisite curves, graceful, and the unrestrained double F, ready to come out. Any man who looks at it will probably be attracted to him. At this moment, she clasped her waist, walked forward, and let out a terrifying breath, clearly indicating that she had reached the 4th level of transcendence. Behind him is a woman wearing a bright yellow battle armor, holding a red tassel gun, full of fighting spirit, and a very heroic appearance. This man's aura shook the sky, and his strength reached the terrifying 5th level of transcendence. I think I gained a lot from this visit to the secret realm of the Tomb of Gods. And if these 2 people weren't Yan Linglong, who else could they be with Dragonblood Warrior G? The 2 of them walked up to Qixing with smiles on their faces, bowed and saluted. I have met you, sir. The 2 of them frowned and smiled, and the blood surged up as they looked at the several vigorous men beside Qixing. Even Man Niu, an old man who took the wife of his 4th wife, almost had a nosebleed. Not to mention the Fat Tiger behind him, who was bending over unbearably. I am afraid that even a man would understand the state of Fat Tiger at this time. However, Yingsha and Qixing were unusually calm. One pretends to be calm on the outside but is turbulent inside, while the other is used to this kind of scene. It's no longer harmful. Seeing Qixing's expressionless expression, the 2 women turned around and walked behind Qixing. They didn't forget to tease Fat Hu when they passed him. You coward, what's there to hide? And the 2 women had just left. Of the 2 men walking towards each other, there was only one man in front of him, wearing a lion body and gilded battle armor. A yellow dragon shadow appeared behind him, and his aura was surging. His strength had reached the peak of the 5th level of transcendence. At this moment, the surrounding space has been contaminated by his dragon energy. It made a wailing sound. Advertisement behind this person is a gray long robe and plain clothes. There is no aura manifested around his body, but there is an evil energy lingering on the top of his head. His state is already close to the 4th level of transcendence. And these two people were not Long Aowushan and Xing Wushang, who else could they be? These two guys have also had many adventures, and their strength has improved by 2 levels. The two of them walked up to Qixing, knelt down on one knee, and shouted loudly. When Qixing saw the visitor, he saluted and tapped his forehead. Okay, you are all very good. In the 3 years in the Tomb of God's secret realm, none of you have regressed. You have almost achieved everything you should have come. Then, let me tell you my plan. Several people pricked up their ears and listened patiently, because they knew that next, it would be the time for the new master to decide their fate. Just listen to Qixing whisper. I am ready to overthrow the rule of this Pure Land world. When the 8 people heard Qixing say this, they were all shocked. Long Aowushan said, Sir, are you kidding me? The strength of the 4 major kingdom leaders, given our current state, is probably like hitting a stone with an egg. And all the 4 countries have ancestors who have expired. Even if Shinigami asked me to capture the kingdom of Zan, I thought it was a fantasy. However, he sent the guardians around, so I thought it was somewhat possible. But it was only there's a 30% chance. I know, you don't need to worry about this, I won't let you die. As he spoke, 6 thumb-sized pills appeared in Qixing's hand. The 6 people who had just arrived had never seen this thing before, and they didn't know it either. But just taking a deep breath, they all felt the intoxicating fragrance from the pills. Qixing explains. This is a primary divine power pill. With your qualifications, you can at least upgrade it to 2 realms. If your qualifications are extremely strong, it is very likely that it can be upgraded to 3 realms. Take it immediately. After hearing this, several people were extremely excited, as if hands stretched out from their throats. He immediately picked up the pill in Qixing's hand and threw it into his mouth. At this moment, 6 people will break through the realm at the same time. I saw the terrifying strong wind blowing around me, instantly blowing away all the trees 10,000 meters away. The strength of the 6 people increased rapidly. But in less than a minute, all 6 people in the realm were promoted. Qixing shouted loudly, cross your legs to stabilize your state. As he spoke, Qixing opened his big hands. All the natural energy in the surrounding area of 100 miles was gathered by Qixing. Then he pressed down with his hands, and the terrifying liquid natural energy was poured into the 6 people crazily. At this moment, the 6 people were extremely excited. They watched their strength increase and stabilize instantly, as if they were dreaming. They worked hard in the secret realm of the Tomb of Gods, and they only improved by 2 realms. But sir, just a pill is as good as mine. 3 years of hard work. This had to make several people admire Qixing more and more. Time passed slowly. 3 minutes later, all the natural energy was exhausted. After the 6 people stood up, they knelt down at the same time. Thank you for your cultivation. Qixing nodded with satisfaction. Only Yang Sha is like a little daughter-in-law, agreed. Qixing chuckled, I won't miss you, there will be more later. After hearing Qixing's promise, Yang Sha was immediately excited. At this moment, the strength of Qixing's major subordinates all increased by 1 level. Man Niu and Fat Tiger, one has reached the 3rd level of transcendence and the other has reached the 1st level of transcendence. Yan Linglong and Dragon Blood Warrior Ji, both of them have reached the 7th level of transcendence. It seems that Yan Linglong's qualifications are absolutely unique. As for Long Aowushan and Xing Wushang, one is at the 7th level of transcendence and the other is at the 6th level. An earth-shaking change in strength. It made several people feel confident. Qixing looked at the progress of several people and was very satisfied. He chuckled and said, Everyone, are you ready for the Pure Land devouring plan? Chapter 264 The capital of the country of Yuzan, the city of eternal life. Several people were startled when they heard this question. Then he was full of confidence and shouted loudly, I will not let you down. Very good, Wushan, together with Zanji, I will leave this Zan kingdom to you too. Their king and ancestor have no fighting power at all. With the strength of the 2 of you, it shouldn't be too difficult for you to do it. Disaster. Yes, sir, and Shinigami's right and left guardians have just received news that they are letting us take over the kingdom of Zan, and they will go to the kingdom of darkness and the kingdom of Lien. There happen to be a few good guys for me to drive, so this time I will not let you down. Very good, Xing Wushang, you and Linglong are going to the kingdom of the underworld. Your strength is around the 7th level. Although Shinigami's right protector will go to the kingdom of the underworld, that guy's strength is only at the 7th level. I miss you. People praying for mantises and catching cicadas, that's enough to deal with that. Fat Tiger, Barbarian Bull, you too will follow me to the kingdom of Kama. I also want to see what kind of abilities this evil god has. Even though he himself was destroyed, he can still allow those who believe in him to be resurrected indefinitely. I think there must be an ulterior secret in this. Let's go, everyone will do their own thing. A week later, everyone will lead their troops and gather in the country of Yuzan. Set off. As soon as Qixing finished speaking, Long Aowushan and Long Shui Zanji were the first to turn around, and they disappeared on the spot, followed by Xing Wushang and Yan Linglong, who also followed closely behind. Seeing them all leaving, Kagaya-ji looked at Qixing. After the 2 nodded, Kagaya-ji disappeared. In the end, only Qixing and his party were left. Just hearing a whistle from Qixing, a big bird flew from the sky and covered the sky, and the sun. Qixing kicked the ground with his legs, and quickly rose up, landing directly on the back of the big bird. Seeing this, Fat Tiger, Barbarian Bull, and Shadow Shaw followed closely behind. The big bird didn't stop for a moment and flew rapidly towards the direction of Kamama country. Time also passes slowly in this boring flight. At this moment, the big bird has been flying for a full hour. Yingsha's eyes glowed and he looked forward. Sir, the capital of the country of Yuzan, the Eternal City, is still less than 10 kilometers away. Well, it's finally here. Qixing also looked forward, where there was a prosperous scene. Is this the city of eternal life? It is also the most prosperous city in the kingdom of Yuzan. The evil god really knows how to enjoy it. At this time, Qixing patted Long Ying's big head and said, just get down here. As soon as they finished speaking, the four of them came to the ground, and Dragon Eagle also landed on Qixing's shoulders. After a few people came down, they discovered that the sky here looked a little gray, as if there was some black mist blocking the world. A few people vaguely saw a brightly lit city in front of them. Qixing raised his feet and reached the end of the world. In an instant, his figure appeared under the city wall, and then raised his eyes to look at the city wall. I feel like there is an ancient atmosphere coming to my face. The city gate is more than 10 meters high, and the city wall is more than 20 meters high. It is majestic and majestic. The entire wall is made of hard Shingon rock. The mighty city wall is like a terrifying head. The giant beast is crawling on the ground. On the top of the city, the tower is 3 stories high, with cornices and brackets, and is magnificent. At first glance, it gives people an impression of grandeur. Qixing is a modern person who has been influenced by the earth. Although he has seen many more majestic city gates than this one, the grandeur of the Eternal City still makes him feel incredible. The four of them walked into the city as if there was no one around. 10 spear-wielding soldiers stood on both sides, their eyes staring at the passing crowd like sharp knives. Advertisement: his body exudes a strong iron-blooded aura, and at a glance he can tell that he is a veteran who was beaten on the battlefield. The aura around him has reached the immortal level. Those who passed by the city gate, whether workers, peasants or merchants, all had their heads shrunk, trembling with fear and walking cautiously. He was obviously frightened by the momentum of these soldiers. Qixing smiled slightly. The 4 people entered the city in a swaggering manner, but the soldiers seemed not to see the 4 people. And this is the special ability of Shadow Kill, the latent shadow in the dark sky. The effect is to bring yourself and the surrounding environment into dark space and time. As for why he sneaked into the city quietly, Qixing had his own plan. Firstly, the enemy is in darkness and we are clear. Secondly, Shinigami's left guard, that is, the guy with the 9th level of Transcendence, has already entered the city with several soul guards who are also at the 8th level of Transcendence. Since they have not made any noise, I think these guys will come. He also sneaked into it quietly. At this moment, Qixing came in and immediately arranged for Shadow Kill to deal with the strongest beings in the city. At this moment, Fat Tiger and Man Niu also left to search for various information. Now only Qixing was left standing on the street, suddenly showing his figure, but no one noticed Qixing's sudden appearance. Qixing stood here at this moment, drifting with the crowd, looking like an ordinary person, but his temperament attracted the attention of many young girls. Suddenly, a figure from the front quickly crossed over in the direction of Sao Qixing. Guest. You are not from this city. Hearing this, Qixing looked at the person who came, only to find that this person was just a young monk in the early stage of the immortal level. In Qixing's eyes, such a small role was undoubtedly a waste. When the visitor saw Qixing's eyes, he suddenly broke out in cold sweat. A dangerous aura that he had never seen before rushed towards him. I almost knelt on the ground. He quickly said, Senior, please don't misunderstand me. The little man Zhang Peng has been in this eternal city for 30 years. Every day he guides outsiders, earns some yuan stones, and makes a living. That's why I recognized at a glance that your excellency is not from this city. After hearing this, Qixing thought about it and threw out a middle-grade yuan stone. Lead the way. The man saw a middle-grade yuan stone. Suddenly, I bowed my head and bowed. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I couldn't help but think that I must serve this gentleman well. He is a huge customer. After receiving the yuan stone, Zhang Peng was overjoyed. He didn't expect that this handsome and cold-hearted man would make such a mistake. Drive. 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 But at this moment, a rapid sound of horse hooves came over. Qixing turned around and saw a young man riding a majestic black horse, speeding down the street. Qixing was also very surprised. In this Pure Land world, there are such creatures as horses. It's really a new thing. Pedestrians around who were trying to avoid him were all knocked over by this tall horse. In serious cases, they were even hit so hard that they vomited blood and were seriously injured. Qixing glanced at them and found that most of those injured were at cage level or even lower, only Jonin, and most of them were ordinary people. Zhang Peng yelled, Sir, please leave. It's the city of eternal life, the 3 major families, the Wang family, Wang Ba, the disaster star is coming. Chapter 265. Another ancestor of the country of Yuzan. After seeing this young man, Zhang Peng's expression changed drastically, and he pulled Qixing to leave. But this pull brought him back, and Qixing still stood firmly in place, like a rock. Upon seeing this, Zhang Peng couldn't care less and quickly hid to the left. This black horse was obviously no ordinary horse. It was extremely fast, Like a black lightning, it arrived in front of Qixing in the blink of an eye. He rushed directly towards him. All the people on the street had dispersed quickly, and he was the only one standing motionless. Everyone looked at him in surprise, as if they were looking at a fool. Get away! If you don't want to die, get away from me! Ha ha ha! The skinny man on the horse shouted loudly, laughing loudly with a ferocious look on his face, very crazy. At a glance, one could tell that this man had been drained of his essence and blood, and his kidneys were weak. The black horse was indeed fast enough at this moment. Before the man finished speaking, the horse came to Qixing. It seems like the 7 stars will be knocked away in the next second. However, Qixing remained motionless until the black horse rushed in front of him, and he stood there as if he didn't notice it. The next second, everyone on the street heard a muffled sound. The black horse's hind hooves were raised high toward the sky. The entire horse's head has been deformed, and the horse's body is even more bloody and bloody. The young man who was so domineering just now also has a deformed body. His whole body seems to have hit a wall, and all the bones in his body may have been broken. 7, 7, 8, 8. He fell to the ground and groaned, seemingly still breathing. When the people around looked at Qixing again, an invisible barrier seemed to appear in front of the young man in black clothes. Not even a drop of blood was contaminated on his whole body, and his body was unscathed. Everyone took a breath when they saw this. What is going on? People around were screaming in shock, and the few guards who followed Wang Ba were also frightened and did not dare to move. In a nearby restaurant, an old man sitting by the window saw the scene below and said to the people at the same table, "It's not simple, it's not simple. This ferocious horse is a ferocious beast at the peak of the immortal level. The Wang family spent a lot of money to win the first place in the auction house. It is said that this fierce horse has the bloodline of an ancient giant beast, and its strength can at least grow to the level of transcendence." Another person said, "Hey, no matter how strong this person is, what's the use? Could he still be better than the supreme elder of the Wang family?" Even Lord Evil God was polite when he met the supreme elder of the Wang family, and Wang Ba is the only child of the Wang family. If you offend him, there will be no good end. Although this scene shocked everyone around him, some people felt that Qixing was about to be in bad luck at this time. A man who looked like a guard ran up to Wang Ba and fed a pill into his mouth. At this time, Wang Ba actually spoke. "A hole, a asterisk hole. You dare to block my way. You even killed my precious horse. I want you to die. Go and invite your second uncle, go quickly." Wang Ba climbed up from the ground with difficulty, his expression extremely ferocious, and screams every time he moves. Advertisement. Finally, 2 guards lifted it up. Although he was seriously injured, he also had the peak strength of 6 paths, so he would not be killed by this attack. However, the pain in his face and body at this time was a double blow. After scanning the surroundings with his eyes, he aimed his gaze at Qixing and shouted at the same time. "Go on, kill that B***** D for me." Several guards saw this. "Where do you dare to take action? Trash. What's the use of raising you? If you don't get better, go back and tell Grandpa that all 9 of you will be killed." The few people had no choice but to rush forward. "Bar, stop it," a middle-aged man yelled not far away. Then several guards finally breathed a sigh of relief. "Second uncle, you are finally here. Kill this B***** D quickly. He almost killed me just now, second uncle." At the same time, a dark-faced middle-aged man flew to Wang Ba's side, raised his hands to Qixing Gong and said, "I'm Wang Dong, this is Wang Ba, the legitimate son of my Wang family, and his grandfather is the strongest man in the Eternal City. Even the evil god has to give me a little bit of noodles when he sees me. I hope you can give me a bit of noodles from the Wang family. Let's take this matter from here." Qixing turned his head and glanced at the person, but said nothing. However, at this time, Wang Dong was extremely shocked in his heart. With just one look from Qixing, Wang Dong was able to kick Burr into the iron plate this time. That kind of terrifying feeling can only be felt by the ancestor. Although this person was young, he felt a sense of oppression that he had never experienced in his life. There was a voice in his mind that kept telling him that he must not fight with this person. But Wang Ba next to him was eager. "Second uncle, hurry up, kill that B***** D. Kill him for me, I want him to die without a burial place. If anything happens, I will let my grandfather take care of it for you." Hearing this, Wang Dong's heart skipped a beat, and he secretly cursed, "Idiot, and trash." Then he quickly said to Qixing, "My Burr is still young and ignorant. I'm offended. Master, please forgive me, let's leave quickly." After saying that, Wang Dong forcibly pulled Wang Ba and wanted to leave here. However, Qixing's words made him feel like he was struck by lightning. "Do you know how many people died because of the rules of being young and ignorant?" A smile appeared on the corner of Qixing's mouth. Suddenly Wang Ba and Wang Dong felt that extreme danger was coming, and they saw a black flaming hand inexplicably appearing beside them. The onlookers exclaimed, "Oh my god. I'm afraid this person is crazy. I can't afford to offend him. I have to run away quickly." And the big hands of flame slowly gathered together. No matter how they broke out, Wang and Dong could not get out of the circle of fire. They knelt down crazily and begged for mercy until the flames completely surrounded them. 2 screams continued to be heard in the flames. After 10 seconds, the sounds became weaker and weaker. Only a little ashes were left at the scene. The breeze blew and the ashes were carried away by the wind and dissipated in the lively streets. Qixing raised his lips slightly. This is the real place of death without burial. At this moment, I only saw the people around me, and then I looked at Qixing's eyes with a little more awe. They all retreated, not daring to get even close to Qixing. And at the moment Wang Ba died, in a luxurious manner, an old man with white beard was sitting on a recliner, enjoying the leisurely time. But suddenly, the old man stood up suddenly, his aura surging around his body, and his white beard flying. An angry shout spread throughout the eternal city. You brave boy, how dare you kill my son Wang Ba, I want you to pay with your life. After saying this, the old man flashed and was about to go and kill the coward, but suddenly, a ripple appeared in the surrounding void, and a silver dagger was inserted straight into the old man's heart. The old man vomited blood, staggered, and appeared from the void. Then he half knelt on the ground and looked at the shadow in front of him in disbelief. You are the number one killer in the Pure Land. You are the shadowless killer. Why do you want to kill me? Chapter 266 Shinigami Right Envoy. Shadow Shah didn't speak. He knew the details of this old man. This old guy was more terrifying than the evil god. He didn't want to be an enemy of this guy unless necessary. But in that blow just now, Shadow Kill used all his strength. He believed that the old man would be unable to revolving heaven. However, the next moment, the old man who had been stabbed through the heart by the dagger actually stood up straight, and the bloody hole pierced by the dagger was healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. When Yingsha saw this, his heart stirred up. How is this possible? At this moment, the old man looked at Yingsha calmly in front of him, his expression a little solemn. Not only was this old man's strength comparable to that of Shadow Kill, but his physical recovery was even more exaggerated than that of Evil God. Shadow Kill found that if he couldn't kill him instantly, and if he wanted to kill him later, he might only have the chance to reach the realm of False God. But the Shadow Kill was confident in that blow just now. Even a strong man in the pseudo-god realm will be seriously injured and on the verge of death. After all, how can he survive if his heart is punctured? Shadow Kill didn't believe it, and his ability to walk in the virtual world was activated, and his figure melted into the void again. The old man was cautiously alert to his surroundings. Then the old man raised his eyes and raised the round stool with a breath, and then roared angrily. The evil flames vibrated, and a bright light appeared all over the old man's body. Yellow flames appeared, and small ripples suddenly appeared in the surrounding void, and the ripples radiated in all directions. Want to find traces of Shadow Kill. But Shadow Kill seemed to have disappeared into this space, leaving no trace at all. The old man didn't believe that this guy could disappear out of thin air, so he immediately increased the strength of the ripples and penetrated into the dark space. But just when the old man was reforming the seal, a small crack suddenly opened in the void, and a silver dagger pierced the old man's head. The old man did not panic, and disdain leaked from the corner of his mouth. Slap the ground with your backhand. The next moment, the old man tilted his head, and a meter-long sword with a yellow light on the ground pierced into the crack. When Shadow Kill reacted, the yellow sword light disappeared together with the void crack. Less than a kilometer away from the old man, a figure staggered up with a yellow sword in its mouth. This person is Yingsha, and at that critical moment just now, Yingsha ducked quickly in the dark space, biting the sword light. But just when the old man thought that Shadow Killer appeared and he was in a safe state, a long sword came from behind the old man and pierced his heart again. The old man looked at the shadow in front of him in disbelief and fell to the ground. When Yingsha saw the old man falling to the ground, he knew that the old man was acting again. He would never die so easily. But after waiting for half a minute, the old guy still didn't move. Is he really dead? At this moment, Yingsha summoned his clone and stepped forward to check. The next moment, Yingsha knew that he had been fooled. He yelled angrily, "No, adults, be careful." After saying that, Shadow Kill's figure disappeared instantly. On the street, Qixing's side, the sound of a sharp sword breaking the wind reached Qixing's ears. Qixing looked up and saw a huge sword slashing towards Qixing from far to near. The speed of this sword is too fast, the power is too great, and the range is too wide. It is probably impossible to avoid it without being above the false god. Qixing glanced at the crowd on this street and sighed. All living beings are always the most vulnerable group of people. There are always a group of people who become victims. Then he drew the dimensional crazy sword he carried with him and swung his right hand upwards. There was an explosion, and in an instant, a 100-meter-long sword shot out from Qixing's hand. Two terrifying sword lights lay across the air, making the sound of fine iron clashing. But it was obvious that Qixing's hasty attack did not completely stop the old man's sneak attack. Qixing's sword light dissipated after resisting for 2 breaths, and the old man's sword light fell on Qixing's head, forcibly splitting Qixing in half. The old man stood 100 meters away from Qixing, looking at Qixing's body lying on the ground with disdain. Even a mere 5th-level transcendent dared to act recklessly in my eternal city. Someone came and chopped up the boy's body and fed it to the dogs. Several servants of the palace were inexplicably excited when they saw the old man beheading Qixing with a single blow. They ran directly to Qixing and tried to carry the body away. Advertisement. But just as a few people approached Qixing's body, Shadow Killer's figure appeared angrily and faced the hard steel old man directly. A person is confronting the old man head-on at this moment, which is exactly what the old man wants to see. The two men fought for no more than 10 rounds. Shadow Kill was already outmatched and was hit several times. The old man chuckled disdainfully. You dare to confront me head-on, you are so ignorant. After saying that, the old man and Shadow Killer's figure disappeared on the street at the same time, and explosions were heard from time to time in the sky, shaking the ears of the people who were still alive around them. Strewn everywhere. Xiao Si, who was hiding far away, said, didn't it say that no action is allowed in the Eternal City? Are you stupid? Don't look at who did it. That's the ancestor of the Wang family. Hey, strength is the way to go. Run quickly to avoid harming Qiu. After saying that, the crowd dispersed in a hurry. At this time, a middle-aged strong man stood on a loft 100 meters away, overlooking the entire Eternal City. Next to him was a man dressed as a servant, but he was chatting happily with the middle-aged man. Uncle Fu, tell me which one of these two is stronger and which one is weaker in battle. Well, Lord Right Envoy, I am afraid that Shadowkill will suffer a big loss in the battle with Wang Xiaolu. For some reason, that boy completely abandoned Shinigami's subordinates and turned to that boy's subordinates. He also learned to fight with others head-on. It's unwise. Maybe, but I always thought that guy just now was a bit weird. Although my strength is only at the 5th level of transcendence, I don't think he will be killed by Wang Xiaolu so easily. Do you imagine that the master who can be favored by Shadow Killer will be such a waste? This is somewhat inconsistent with Yingsha's temper. When the two were chatting happily, suddenly a ripple appeared in the void beside them. The old man dressed as a servant was shocked, and his aura was surging in his body, and he was ready to take action. The ripples in the void became more and more obvious, and then a black portal appeared. The right envoy did not panic, but smiled and said, a guest has arrived. Uncle Fu will serve tea. Uncle Fu was surprised by the change of his envoy, but he still refused to order to pour tea. The person who walked out of this black space was none other than Qixing. At this moment, Qixing clapped his hands and said with a smile, the right envoy is the right envoy. It is indeed extraordinary. It took me several hours to find you. But you seem to know that I would come. Ha ha ha, of course I know how it is possible for a young man who is favored by Shinigami-sama to be simple. Oh, what if I died in the hands of the ancestor of the Wang family? That only means you are a waste and not worth mentioning. But you are brave enough to come here alone. You are not afraid that I will kill you. Hey, I shouldn't die now, otherwise you would have done it long ago, and you may not have the ability to do it. Okay, did you just pretend to be dead just to find me? Just tell me what you have to say. Refreshing. The right envoy has brought 4 masters who have transcended the 7th level. They are here to kill me. The direct descendants of the Wang family are only your first step, and the ancestors of the Wang family are only your second step. I can think of the 4th step, which should be done by you personally, so I found you in advance and wanted to ask what the 3rd step is. Because I don't want to waste my time, go and accept those clown shows. Ha 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 ha, you wanted to break the situation, so you found me directly. Chapter 267 Return of the Pure Land of Heaven. Yes, I think it would be more interesting to kill you directly. Ha ha ha, I heard something. You said you wanted to kill me. Boy, who gave you the courage? Forget it, it's not important. You were delivered to the door anyway. It might be a good idea to kill you here and take your body to see Mr. Shinigami. As for the 3rd step you mentioned, boy, I will burn the detailed plan to you when you die. How about? After saying this, Shinigami's right commander jumped up and quickly formed seals with his hands. This was clearly a powerful ninjutsu. What's going on? It's been the first time that Qixing has seen someone perform ninjutsu in this Pure Land world for so long. Hey, then let me look forward to it and see how strong your ninjutsu is. After Qixing finished speaking, he felt an invisible pressure between heaven and earth, suddenly acting on his whole body. Qixing sensed the danger and instantly opened the field. Stretch your hands forward, and the infinite space expands. Colliding crazily with the force of nature, invisible ripples spread out in all directions. But it is obvious that Qixing is slightly behind in the space field. He was defeated steadily. The folded spaces scattered around were all broken through frontally one by one. For the first time Qixing felt pressure. That comes from one's own strength, or there are still some shortcomings. If there was no blood transformation, 7 stars might really have to be folded here. At this time, this terrifying pressure was like a 10,000-meter-high mountain, pressing on Qixing's head. It was made unable to move. Although it was supported by the realm, Qixing's legs were still bent and deformed. At this moment, Qixing no longer hesitated and directly used Super Blue to transform, and circles of blue flames instantly appeared around his body. The moment the blue flames appeared, Qixing's strength also increased in a straight line, directly breaking through to the 9th level of transcendence. Shinigami's right envoy saw that this guy Nanahoshi actually had this magical ability. So I no longer hide my clumsiness. He roared directly, come out, everyone. Form the Buddha formation. After the words fell, 4 guys in black robes instantly appeared around Qixing. The auras of these people were all above the 7th level. This should be Shinigami's entire foundation over the years. Qixing had already expected it at this moment and did not want to waste any more time. He saw that the aura in his body surged again. The strength that transcended the 9th level instantly transformed into the pseudo-god realm. The 5th level transformation of Super Saiyan is started, dark blue transformation. And at some point, he had already taken out his own dimensional blade. Look at the 5 figures around. 2 are at the 8th level of transcendence, and 3 are at the 7th level. Qixing said with disdain, "It's really a generous move, but it's a pity that you guys came late." And when the 5 people saw Qixing using some unknown means, they raised their strength to the limit of the transcendent realm, which is the pseudo-god realm. Everyone gasped. Hiss. What the hell is that kid? He can instantly improve so much strength. How is this possible? He can still improve like this when he reaches the realm of transcendence. Could it be that this guy is from that planet? But if that were really the case, Shinigami-sama would have sent someone to capture him long before he grew up. How could he be left here until now? Seeing that his subordinates were so afraid, Shinigami roared, "Well, there is nothing to be afraid of. Our pagoda formation can reduce his strength by at least 3 levels and increase his own strength by 3 times. If this doesn't kill him, then we won't have to live anymore." After hearing what the right envoy said, the 4 of them felt very calm. At this moment, 5 different colors of energy are quickly linked together. These are the 5 attributes of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. Just when Qixing was surprised, the energy of 5 attributes gathered on the ground into a formation that covered half of the Eternal City. Strange energy kept flowing through the formation, and the 7 stars and 5 people all stood in the center of the formation. At this moment, the strange energy was pouring into the bodies of the 5 people crazily, and their aura surged again. All moved up to a higher level. Advertisement. And the energy in Qixing's body began to flow uncontrollably. The aura of the pseudo-god realm is falling back bit by bit. Qixing knew he couldn't wait any longer. He simply slashed out the dimensional blade in his hand, and a sword energy of more than 100 meters flew out from the dimensional blade and headed straight for the right gate. The right envoy didn't seem to see the sword energy, and didn't even try to hide. He just glanced at Dao Qi with his eyes and continued to stabilize the formation under his feet. The next second, only a bang was heard, and the figure of the right envoy disappeared the moment it came into contact with the sword energy. No warning. The sword energy seemed to hit some barrier and exploded. But nothing was hurt. Seeing this, Qixing frowned. Qixing, who did not believe in evil, quickly pulled out the dimensional blade from his waist again. Wound dance. Draw your sword and slash. Use this move. The entire formation was trembling, and then with the 7 stars as the center, a circular sword energy spread outward at a speed so fast that it was impossible to hide. The terrifying sword energy instantly killed 5 people. However, at the moment when the sword energy approached the 5 people, these 5 guys disappeared from the formation again. Even if the battle was brought with the power of space, it would not help. Qixing knew that this formation was not so easy to break. The formation is filled with the power of nature, and I want to use the power of nature to deal with me. Snort. Qixing smiled disdainfully, raised his head and shouted to the sky, "Come out. The gift has been absorbed successfully. It should be much easier for you to control this world. Zishao Tianlei, come." After Qixing finished speaking, the white clouds in the sky formed a huge human face. After the face appears terrifying thunder, falling without warning. The 5 people who were so complacent just now were instantly stunned on the spot. This is the most terrifying tribulation thunder in this world, the purple sky thunder. It can destroy all illusions and is also the nemesis of the formation. Isn't that something only heaven can control? Why can this kid summon thunder? Right envoy. What should we do? Damn, calm down, it's no big deal. I have to believe that Shinigami-sama's formation will definitely work. When the right envoy finished speaking, the purple thunder in the sky had already hit the 5 people 100 meters above their heads. But it was blocked by an invisible barrier. When the right envoy saw this, a smile appeared on his face. I'll just say it. Just as the 5 people breathed a sigh of relief, the purple thunder suddenly became thicker. Boom, click. 2 explosions, and at this moment, the 5-sided pagoda formation shattered. The right envoy was instantly slapped in the face, and after the thunder fell, the 5 of them didn't even have a chance to react, and they were all destroyed by the thunder. Qixing looked at the large formation on the ground, and then at the big face formed by white clouds in the sky. A thunderbolt exploded at Qixing's feet, as if to challenge Qixing. Qixing ignored him and waved him away. At this moment, people who saw this terrifying thunder went crazy. What was that just now? It seems to be the purple sky thunder that has not appeared for thousands of years. That is a calamity thunder that can only be controlled by the heavenly Tao. Could it be that my pure land heavenly Tao has returned? Ha ha ha. Do you remember that prophecy? I've heard it said a long time ago, if the way of heaven does not return, the realm of gods will not return. This sentence. Quote. Could the prophecy be coming true? Tiandao has returned. Isn't it time that those powerful gods who left have returned as well? Advertisement chapter 268 The big hand that covers the sky and destroys the Wang family. At this moment, everyone who saw this thunder was extremely excited. Start imagining the future of the Pure Land world. If the god-level experts from my Pure Land return, then the Pure Land world will surely advance to a high-level world. At that time, in order to gain the recognition of heaven, those terrifying strong men will definitely hang on the inheritors and pass on their yibo. And with my qualifications, I will definitely worship under the command of a god-level powerhouse. Become a powerhouse below one person and above 10,000 people. Damn, it's just you. You've only reached the late stage of the immortal level now. You're still one level behind me. I was already at the peak of the immortal level 3 years ago. You kid, get in line behind my A. Listening to the quarrels of these cultivators, Qixing was a little curious. Who has such a big hand, using god-level powerhouses to promote the operation of this world, and then using the general trend of heaven and earth to forcibly raise the level of the world? This kind of layout does not 10,000 years may not be achieved. So what will he gain in the end by doing this? Or is this guy Shinigami pushing for all of this? Since he can't figure it out, Nanahoshi is not going to think about it anymore, because he will go to Shinigami soon, and everything will be clear by then. And here, everyone below is still discussing about the return of Heavenly Tao and the return of the gods. Those unknown god-level powerful people have not yet returned, but they have already been missed by these unknown people. Qixing stood in the sky and watched these people's discussions. My heart started to feel alive. The way of heaven is back. Will the god-level powerful people in this world return? At this moment, the 7 stars sit cross-legged and begin to communicate with the will of heaven in this world. Shaoshan, if you return to the Pure Land world, will it be possible for thousands of years for those god-level experts who left to return to the Pure Land world? Yes, when I completely control this world will be able to advance and become a high-level world. After the fusion of the ninja world, the laws of the 2 worlds will be unified, and the world's level will be further advanced. It will reach the limit of the high-level world. At that time, I will be able to get rid of the invisible body and become a tangible body. When the time comes, I can also get rid of your kid's control. I can even counter you. After saying this, Tiandao felt that he had said something wrong. Zhangzhou said. Boy, what did you do to me? How could I tell you what's on my mind? B*************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** keep going. After Qixing finished speaking, Tiandao continued to speak without any control. Well, it's time for this world to be able to withstand the battles of low-level gods and even mid-level god-level powerhouses. Of course, those guys who left will come back to seize the luck and merit of the world's advancement. That is a shortcut to breaking through the realm above the god level. Yeah, I understand. It seems that we need to control all the forces in this world as soon as possible. I think Shinigami has the same idea. Let's see who among us is better. Speaking of Qixing, he quickly came to the place where Yingxia and the ancestor of the Wang family were fighting. The two people also stopped fighting at this moment and looked at the disappearing thunderbolt on the horizon. I don't know what I'm thinking. Suddenly the appearance of 7 stars broke the tranquility of the two of them. When the ancestor of the Wang family saw that Qixing was still alive, his anger suddenly erupted. There was a loud shout. Heaven seizing slash, this strike seizes the heaven and earth's creation. The crowd hiding in the distance exclaimed, the heaven seizing slash is the famous secret skill of the ancestor of the Wang family. To see it again is unbelievable. The ancestor of the Wang family used his full strength. Advertisement. That boy is going to suffer. At this time, the ancestor of the Wang family turned into a flaming sword several meters long. Shadow Shah was about to step forward to help, but Qixing waved his hand to stop him. I will suppress the trash that is in the early stage of the 9th level of transcendence with just one hand. At this moment, the flaming sword fell from a height of 100 meters and slashed directly to Qixing's head. Everyone around them closed their eyes and did not dare to look directly at this scene. When Zhou's sword was only 1 meter away from Qixing, Qixing stretched out his right hand easily, and a black light suddenly appeared on his hand. The knife was cut in his hand without making any sound. The knife just stopped on top of Qixing's head, motionless. The blade kept trembling, as if it was trying to escape from Qixing's clutches. But the more I struggled, the harder it became to escape. I saw only 7 stars. The power of the flames in my right hand increased, and the strength in my hand increased. Look at the long flaming knife again. Cracks had begun to appear on the blade, and screams continued to come from the blade, first begging for mercy, then cursing, and finally the sound became smaller and smaller. The entire blade began to crack, and slowly the blade broke into dozens of pieces. Suddenly a figure appeared from the sky and fell to the ground. This person is the ancestor of the Wang family who transformed the sword. At this time, the ancestor of the Wang family collapsed on the ground, unable to move. I'm afraid, all the bones in the body have been broken into dregs. He couldn't even say anything, he just kept vomiting blood. He was getting to the point where there was less air coming in and more air coming out. Qixing had no mercy and was about to kill him, but suddenly dozens of people rushed out from the Wang family mansion behind him, holding swords and halberds, and rushed directly towards Qixing. The strength of these people who suddenly appeared were all around the 3rd level of transcendence. And the foundation of those guys is gone. It was obvious that these people were dead soldiers of the Wang family and had been forcibly increased in strength. Qixing looked disdainful and ignored these people. He raised his knife and cut off the head of the ancestor of the Wang family. The next moment, the ancestor of the Wang family turned into a pool of blood, seeped into the ground, and disappeared without a trace. Qixing clearly sensed that the old guy was dead, but did not see his soul. Qixing's spirit-arresting generals also failed to arrest this guy's soul. Obviously, this old guy used special means to escape with his remaining soul. At this time, the dozens of dead soldiers had already rushed to Qixing, and countless sword lights greeted Qixing. But it couldn't hurt Qixing's body no matter what. Qixing just waved his hand, and a terrifying strong wind blew dozens of people into the sky. Looking at the main residence of the Wang family in front of him, Qixing finally murmured, "In order to prevent people from coming to trouble me often in the future, I decided to solve the trouble once and for all. This is more trouble-free." As he spoke, Qixing disappeared from the ground. When he looked at his figure again, he had already appeared in the sky above the main residence of the Wang family. At the same time, in the sky, there is a huge hand wrapped with black flames, which is constantly expanding. 500 meters, 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers and 3 kilometers. When the Wang family saw the palm, they all came out to watch, not knowing what happened. Finally, when the palm reached the size of 5 kilometers, it fell suddenly, and only a muffled sound was heard on the ground. Boom. Then the entire Wang family was directly wiped out by 7 stars. Looking above the ground, a huge pit 2 meters deep was pressed out by the huge palm on the entire 5 kilometers of ground. The black flames in the pit were still beating, burning everything they touched. Chapter 269 Taking the Eternal City. At this moment, all the living people in the Eternal City were stunned, watching the big hand that covered the sky fall, and then turned to look at the ancestral land of the Wang family. Looking at the disappearing Wang family, I was already extremely frightened. Many of the guys who were watching the fun were already talking incoherently. That boy actually covered the sky with one hand and destroyed the Wang family. How is it possible? The ancestor of the Wang family is a stronger being than the evil god. How is it possible? If you say no, it's gone. At this time, the Wang family was destroyed. The whole city was shocked, but the other 2 controllers of the Eternal City were already panicking. One of the aristocratic families is the Bai family. A family meeting is currently being held in the family. The person sitting in the first seat is trembling all over. It is obvious that he is afraid that Qixing, a kid named Yu Coin, who knows what to do, will suddenly kill the Bai family. The people below were still discussing countermeasures. But the person on top of the throne can still control the situation. One sentence directly determines the future direction of the Bai family. Just listen to the Bai family leader, his voice trembling slightly. "Everyone, this eternal city has reached the point of life and death. I think everyone has seen that that kid is definitely not an easy master. And his purpose is self-evident. Obviously coming for the control of this eternal city. So I decided that if I took the initiative to seek refuge, even if it couldn't be the icing on the cake, I still had to provide help in times of need. Third child, your daughter has reached the age to start a family. I think with the appearance of my third niece, she can easily conquer that boy. When our strength increases, we will definitely turn against the guests. Pull him off the altar. What do you think?" Now that the eldest family has emerged, everyone else raised their hands in approval. Even if the eldest family disagrees, they are no longer able to revolving heaven. In this way, a plan surrounding the 7 stars began. And speaking of another family in the Eternal City, it's called the Li family. As for the Li family, the head of the family had already entered transcendence 10 years ago, and there is no way of knowing what state he is in now. All I know is that if you are at the 5th level of ordinary transcendence, you can't hurt it at all. At this time, the head of the Li family was still calm. He was sitting at the head of his conference hall. Li Chongshun said nothing with a stern face, looking down at the clan members who were entering the conference hall in an endless stream. His face was just a little serious. After all, the Eternal City had encountered the biggest crisis in its history, and it was time for him, the head of the family, to make a decision. Seeing that the seats below were full, Li Chongshun was not waiting for other family members. Looking at the clansmen below, Li Chongshun said, "I think everyone has seen the big hand just now, and I think everyone has heard the news that the Wang family's ancestral land has disappeared. As for the mysterious boy who appeared out of thin air, his origins have not yet been found out. We only know that after coming out of the mystical realm of divine eyes, his strength grew rapidly and he possessed terrifying bloodline power. Everyone, tell me what you think about this matter. Uncle, if there's anything interesting to see, let's go straight over there and capture that kid alive. He was definitely seriously injured in the battle with the ancestor of the Wang family. This may be our chance." Wait a minute, head of the family. Although what the eldest son said makes sense, I just received news that the Bai family has chosen to join that strange boy. If he didn't have any special means, I don't think the Bai family would be able to take refuge at will. How about we pretend to surrender, and then ask the ancestors to take action secretly to wipe out the Bai family and that wild boy in one fell swoop. The old man did not continue to say anything, but just moved his hand and wiped his own neck. The meaning is self-evident. The figure on the first seat thought about it and realized that he was just pretending to surrender and actually killed someone. Yes, the head of the family. Well, Li Chongshun, I'm just taking a gamble with my life. Walk. With that said, he dismissed the master, and then walked directly into a dark basement. At this time, the scene changed, and the 4 people from Qixing reunited again. Advertisement. Fat Tiger and Man Niu looked at Qixing and said excitedly, "Sir, we have already inquired about this city. This city is jointly controlled by the Li family, the Bai family, and the Wang family. Although this is the base camp of the evil god, all the forces under his command have been dispersed, disappeared without a trace. Isn't that guy dead? A group of old immortals always like to fake death to experiment. Humph, that's all if you don't come out. If you dare to come out, it doesn't matter if I kill you again. When Qixing finished speaking, not far away, two teams of people approached from far away. A group of 10 people led by Li Chongshun of the Li family, all of whom were from the first to the third level of transcendence. The other team, headed by the Bai family, consisted of 5 transcendent third level and 5 peak immortal level beings. But what's strange is that behind those 10 people is a beautiful woman with fair skin, tall figure, and excellent face and temperament. When several people saw Qixing, they all smiled and kept chatting. The head of the Bai family stepped forward with trembling hands. Mr. Yu, I have admired you for a long time, your name is like thunder to my ears. When I saw you, I found that you are not only superior in strength, but also have an extraordinary handsome face. I am Bai Jinting, the head of the Bai family. I represent the whole family and want to take refuge under Mr. Yu. Qixing didn't say much, he greeted Man Niu and Fat Tiger and handed over to them. Qixing only heard these guys, and they didn't talk much about business. They all talked about Qixing's marriage. The 3 daughters of the Bai family were also born with stunning beauty. They looked at Qixing with some yearning in their eyes. They did not fall in love with Qixing at first sight. But he longs to have the strength of Qixing, covering the sky with one hand, and controlling his own destiny. Qixing didn't seem to care about that, but looked at the Li family's team. These guys came with a lot of people, but they didn't bring any gifts. There is obviously no sincerity. At this moment, the head of the Li family walked up to Qixing and pretended to seek refuge with Qixing. In fact, secretly, he had sprinkled an ecstasy drug called Malong powder on himself and walked towards Qixing. While holding Qixing's hands tightly to show politeness and respect, Qixing could not break away from the hands of the Li family master. This was planned by the head of the Li family long ago. As the effect of the medicine spread, everyone present was affected and felt weak. If anyone dared to use the energy in his body, he would immediately fall into coma. At this moment, the Li family also revealed their own faces. Boy, you are very capable. You can kill immortal figures like the ancestors of the Wang family, but unfortunately you are still too young. You haven't fallen into my trap. Die, ha 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 ha. Everyone only heard a pop, and a blood flower flew 3 meters high. Then the head of the Li family suddenly came to an end. Looking at Qixing dumbfounded, you. How is it possible that you are not affected by the dragon mystery powder? That pill is enough to charm the dragon to death. Oh, there is no point in being ignorant. Go to hell with your questions. As he spoke, Qixing swung the dimensional blade in his hand, and the Li family leader's body was separated. Then everyone in the Li family knelt down one after another when they saw it. Mr. Yu, it was all the head of the family's idea, and we didn't know about it. But before he finished speaking, a big black flame hand surrounded the 9 people. The 9 people could not even resist and were instantly reduced to ashes. Advertisement Chapter 270. The 6th level of Transcendence, Civil Strife in Zon Kingdom. Qixing clapped his hands, as if he had done something extremely easy, and then looked at the head of the Bai family. Old Bai, since you have decided to join me, then sign this contract and we will be a family from now on. This eternal life the city is also under your control. After saying that, Qixing threw a yellow scroll to the head of the Bai family. The scroll fell into the hands of the Bai family. The Bai family looked at it carefully, but no matter what, he couldn't see anything special about the scroll. He raised his eyes to look at the family elite behind him and gritted his teeth. A drop of blood dripped onto the scroll. The next moment, a milky white light enveloped the Bai family leader. In just a few breaths, the Bai family leader's aura was directly raised to the 8th level of transcendence. This scene made everyone open their mouths in shock, and they all looked at their family master in disbelief. Master, are you okay? How could you break through so suddenly? Lao Bai looked at his own body, then at the clansman behind him, and waved his hand to indicate that he was fine. But when he looked at Qixing, his eyes were filled with kindness. Young Master Yu, don't worry. I will leave this eternal city to old man. I will definitely live up to young master's expectations. Seeing that the leader of the Bai family broke through directly after gaining the power of the contract, Qixing was also very surprised. This had not happened before. System, what happened just now? Ding, because as the host becomes stronger, the level of the items you purchase will also increase. Close black lens bracket. The guy himself is close to a breakthrough, and the appearance of the contract scroll just gives him an opportunity. Close black lens bracket. Qixing did not tell the Bai family master what to do next, but the Bai family master was mature and had already figured out all these relationships. He said to the people behind him, start immediately and send people to take over all the properties of the Li family and the Wang family. In just 3 days, the entire Eternal City was unified, and the Bai family took charge of the Eternal City again, becoming the apparent controller of the Kingdom of Sickles. Qixing also gained a lot in these 3 days. He got 180,000 points alone, and he also got the evil god's secret treasure. A thing that looks like a small cauldron is named Jojo Cauldron by the system, but it cannot be activated here at all. Although I can't understand this now, maybe I can use it in the future. What's more important is that he saw the death of countless people and the rebirth of countless people here. Qixing had an epiphany on the spot, and the barrier approaching the 6th level of transcendence was directly broken through. Moreover, there is a corpse of a middle god in his Tianji tower. If he absorbs that, Qixing will definitely be able to reach another level. At that time, even if Shinigami breaks through to the god level, Nanahoshi will no longer be afraid. When all the dust settled in the Eternal City, 7 stars waved to the sky, and suddenly a stellar's eagle that was more than 100 meters tall fell from the sky. Qixing shouted, "Shadow Shaw, Fat Tiger, Barbarian Bull, let's go." As he spoke, a gust of breeze carried the 3 of them and rushed onto the eagle's back. Under the watch of the leader of the Bai family, he headed towards the country of Yuzan. On the other side, in the kingdom of Zan, the capital, in Dokshuan City, Long Aowushan and Dragon Blood War Ji, the kingdom of Zan is in the midst of civil strife, because the life card of their leader, Lord Yangshan, was revealed a few days ago. Broken, the 3 gods of the sun and their adopted sons are fighting for the dominance of the kingdom of Zan. Seeing the last moment, Yangshan's eldest son, Huo Feiyan, took control of the situation, but was stabbed by his pillow. Huo Feiyan looked at his beloved in disbelief. "You, Mu Qingshe, I treat you well, why did you betray me? HMPH, when you forced me to marry you, I already hated you, Vice Admiral, in my heart. I swear that if I have the chance, I will kill you with my own hands." Advertisement. You, the sword is poisonous, you poisonous woman. As he spoke, he used his last bit of strength to strike out with a powerful palm wind, but at the critical moment, his brother Huo Feiyan took action to block the blow. "Second brother, you can just die. Why do you have to take my sister-in-law?" After saying that, he put his arms around the sister-in-law's waist and looked at Huo Feiyan, who fell to the ground in front of him with a smile. "Sneer, a loser dares to compete with me for the supreme position. You simply don't know your capabilities. It's time for you to go." As he spoke, he cut off my eldest brother's head with a slash of his hand. At this moment, Long Aowushan and Dragon Blood Warrior Ji, who were invisible and hiding behind the fire dragon seat, couldn't help but sigh. It is said that the royal family has no family ties since ancient times. It turns out that the ancients did not deceive me. Let's go. It's our turn. But just when Long Aowushan was about to show his body, there were 1,000 people in pairs of horses and horses not far away, surrounding the huge palace. I saw a young man riding a white horse walking out of the crowd. He looked at Huo Feiyan with disdain and sneered, "You're going to kill your own brother. If he's dead, don't you lose another ally." "Humph, Huo Feihuo, you just came here. Even if you are my father's illegitimate son, you are not qualified to compete for this position. Make your identity clear." "Oh, really? It turns out that I'm not strong enough to even speak. Go away. Even if you take this position, you will be replaced by someone else within 3 years, so you might as well let me do it. Now I'll give you 2 choices, either die or get out. HMPH. Don't think that I will be afraid of you if there is a 7th-level transcendental powerhouse behind you." After saying that, Huo Feiyan looked at the old man behind him, bowed, and said, "Uncle Qin, it seems that I am still going to trouble you. It's okay. It's just that there are 2 of them who have transcended the 7th level, which makes me a little surprised. That guy should be Shinigami's right-hand man, why is he here?" But before Uncle Qin could figure out the reason, the 2 old men over there had already taken action, hoping to suppress Uncle Qin in a short time. And this is also true. The 3 of them are equally powerful, but in a 2-on-1 fight it is obvious that Uncle Qin is unbeatable. He was defeated in just 3 minutes. When Huo Jian saw that there were 2 strong men who transcended the 7th level, he suddenly felt panicked. He said calmly, "Huo Feihuo, you have colluded with the right envoy of the kingdom of Yuzan. This is treason. Even if you get the position of the leader of the country, you will be a sinner forever." Unfortunately, Huo Feihuo has been aloof since he was a child and has long disliked his 2 older brothers. After Uncle Qin was captured, he came to Huo Feiyan and killed him with his sword. At this moment, no one stopped him. Seeing that everything had finally settled, Huo Feihuo walked towards the supreme position with satisfaction. The 2 masters behind him who had surpassed the peak of the 7th level suppressed the entire audience. But the moment Huo Feihuo sat on the fire dragon seat, Long Aowushan immediately released his invisibility from the fire dragon seat. His big hand quickly stretched out and grabbed Huo Feihuo's neck. He said disdainfully, "You should know the reason behind the mantis stalking the cicada and the oriole behind." When the 2 following transcendents saw that Long Aowushan had captured Huo Feihuo, they said angrily, "You are so bold that you dare to hurt the new Lord Yangshan. Looking for death." After saying that, he stabbed Huo Feihuo with his sword. Long Aowushan was too late to save Huo Feihuo, so he had to dodge by himself. What happened unexpectedly was that the long sword pierced Huo Feihuo's heart. At this moment, Huo Feihuo looked at the teacher he had always admired in disbelief. Vomiting blood, he asked weakly, "Why?" Chapter 271 Rebellion in Fengdu. Looking at the dying Huo Feihuo in front of him, the old man called teacher laughed and did not answer his words. At this time, Long Aowushan also threw away the dying Huo Feihuo, looked at the 2 old men in front of him, and immediately entered a state of preparation for war. However, when the old man saw Long Aowushan's actions, he smiled casually and said, "You 2 don't need to be on guard. We are Lord Lishan's subordinates and have been lurking in this kingdom of Zon for hundreds of years. A few days ago, I just received news from Master Lishan that he and Master Qixing have cooperated, and we have been specially ordered to help Brother Wushan. At this moment, Long Ao Wushan's eyes were stern, and he obviously didn't believe what the old man said casually. But when the old man took out the jade of Lishan, the token of the elders of the kingdom of evil, Long Ao Wushan still believed it, because in the hands of every core figure of a major power, there would be such a jade tablet infused with his own soul. If he betrayed or died, the soul or jade tablet inside would turn black. After all, it is difficult to fake this thing, but it is not absolutely fake, so Long Ao Wushan only believed it 3 points. Moreover, these two people are obviously double agents. It is still unclear which side they belong to. But the most important thing at this moment is not the people who guess who these two people are, but the fact that the 3 princes of Zon Kingdom have been killed and injured. Now we need to support someone as soon as possible to lead this huge mysterious country. Long Ao Wushan narrowed his eyes slightly, looked at the 2 old men, and said, "You two, the people who are qualified to lead the Zon Kingdom are already dead and useless. Since you are also members of Master Qixing, who do you think is the right person to manage this kingdom of Zon?" Ha ha ha, in my opinion, Commander Ying Yan is the best candidate. He is in charge of 100,000 Xuanwu army, and his prestige in this Zon Kingdom is known to everyone. Unfortunately, he was sent by Master Lishan and Master Qixing, the country of the underworld. So there is only one best candidate here now, and that is Huo Feiyan, the only eldest princess of the kingdom of Zon. She is less than 30 years old, but her strength has reached the peak of the immortal level. His prestige is that besides Yan Linglong, he is the strongest person. In this great Zon Kingdom, he is the only one who can do this effortlessly, and he is justified and will not be criticized by others. After all, as long as Huo Feihuo dies, he will be the only heir. Huo Feihuo, who was dying at this moment, heard the conversation between the two, dragged his broken body, and shouted, "Teacher, no, don't kill me, I can, I agree to the conditions I agreed to before, teacher, everything depends on the teacher's arrangements. Teacher, I don't want to die. I still have a bright future." Everyone had forgotten about him at this time, but who knew that this guy was so ignorant that he would interrupt at this stall. The old man was shaken with energy, and a violent wind blew towards Huo Feihuo. The next moment, Huo Feihuo's body exploded directly on the spot. Flesh and blood flew everywhere. All the subordinates around him vomited when they saw this scene. But no one dared to say a word. At the moment when Huo Feihuo died, he saw a person walking out of the huge palace. This person was wearing a dragon robe and a phoenix crown, with a majestic face and looking straight ahead. Then a eunuch beside him shouted loudly, "Emperor Yun has ascended the throne," and announced it to the world. The moment the 2 old men saw the woman, they smiled and turned to look at Long Ao Wushan. "This is the best candidate we talked about. What do you think, Brother Wushan?" Advertisement. Long Ao Wushan didn't say anything, but Dragon Blood Warrior Ji beside him said, "No matter what happens to her, as long as it doesn't delay Master Qixing's plan, everything will be fine. But if it affects Master's plan, the kingdom of Zon will be destroyed." Long Ao Wushan nodded after hearing this. What Zon Ji said is right. Since you have decided on things here, and we are all on our own, then get ready. There are less than 3 days left, and our deployment here must reach the country of Yuzhen. Quote. The 2 old men did not doubt his presence, and successfully arranged for Huo Feiyan to take control of the mysterious country. Immediately dispatch experts to accompany Long Ao Wushan and the others to the country of Yuzhen. At this time, things in the kingdom of Zon were successfully concluded, but in the kingdom of the underworld, Xing Wushang and Yan Linglong encountered huge obstacles. Xing Wushang and Yan Linglong were intercepted and killed by the underworld guards before they entered the kingdom of the underworld. Although the 2 of them were strong, the hero could not withstand the crowd. For 3 days, the 2 of them spent the whole 3 days killing people. And he was also seriously injured. If it weren't for the 2 fairy beans given by Qixing, the 2 of them would have been disabled or dead. In the past 3 days, neither of them had had a peaceful rest, but now that everyone had been killed, the tasks assigned by Master Qixing had not been fulfilled at all, which made the 2 of them panic. At this moment, the 2 of them were ready to go, not daring to rest at all. Dragging his seriously injured body, he immediately set off for the main city of the kingdom of the underworld, Fengdu City. After several hours of hard work, the 2 of them were exhausted, but fortunately, they finally entered Fengdu, the capital of the kingdom of the underworld. When the 2 of them entered it, they felt a murderous aura enveloping the entire Fengdu city. People were all walking quickly, as if they were afraid that something would affect them. At this moment, Xing Wushang looked at Yan Linglong beside him and said, "Commander Yan, there seems to be a battle in Fengdu City. I felt the auras of several powerful men who transcended the 7th level. It's in the Temple of Hades in Fengdu City. Is it possible that we are late and this place is occupied by others? What should we do? Do you want to go and have a look?" When Yan Linglong heard this, she agreed without thinking. "Go, of course I will go. The mission ordered by Master Qixing must be completed even if it means life or death. Walk." After saying that, he took the lead and disappeared into the street, followed closely by Xing Wushang, but their disappearance did not attract the attention of pedestrians on the street. In the palace of Hades at this moment, there are 2 parties confronting each other. On one side are the 8 gate guards belonging to Shinigami. The 8 of them are covered in black robes, and the auras of all of them are transcending the limits of the 6th level. When the breaths of the 6 people were connected, there was a faint shadow of the giant Manos Grande that transcended the 9th level, flickering in the sky. In front of the 8 people stood a young man who looked very young. This man was the second brother of the god of hell, Yan Wushuang. Although he is young, this guy is close to 100 years old. This person is brave and good at fighting, extremely cruel, and his strength has already reached the 8th level of transcendence. In the entire kingdom of Hades, its strength is one of the best. On the other side, there are 4 unknown strong men. Each of these 4 people is in the 7th level of transcendence. And the auras of the 4 people are also linked to each other. I am afraid that the combat effectiveness of the 4 people's combined attack does not belong to any strong person who has transcended the 9th level. It seems that the Pure Land world has Shinigami, the country of Yuzan, the strongest to redeem the country of the underworld. However, no matter how powerful the 4 of them were, they all lowered their heads and bent their waists, standing behind another young man with sword-shaped eyebrows and starry eyes, and a majestic weapon. There was a clanking sound of sword bones. This is none other than the third brother of Hades, Yan Wudi. Chapter 272. The name of Yan Wudi. At this moment, the aura emanating from Yan Wudi's body was intimidating. He no longer belonged to the realm of transcendence. But it seems that because there is no way of heaven in this world, there is no way to truly transcend and break through to the divine level. And this guy is less than 50 years old. If you really want to calculate it, it is not an exaggeration to say that this guy may be the strongest genius in this world. At this time, Yan Wudi's strength has already surpassed the 2 ancestors of the kingdom of the underworld. Perhaps he is already at the top of this world. Even though he has been in this realm for 10 years, one can imagine how unfathomable his strength is. When Yan Wushuang saw his third brother, he was stunned for a few seconds. Then he asked in confusion, "Third brother, why did you come out?" Yan Wudi listened to his second brother's words and smiled. The goal has been achieved, of course I have to come out and see what the world has become, but the death of the eldest brother is a bit interesting. As Yuzan Wuya, it seems that I have been missing for too long. It's time to go and meet him. At this moment, Yan Wushuang heard Yan Wudi say these words, and his heart thumped. It seems that I have nothing to do with my position as the leader of the country of the underworld. Then he looked at the 8 gate behind him in frustration, shook his head, and said, "Everyone, although I thank you for your help, I didn't expect that my eldest brother's death was related to Yuzan Wuya, so our cooperation ends here." When the 8 gate guard heard Yan Wushuang say this, 8 voices came out at the same time, saying disdainfully, "Why, Yan Wushuang, do you want to regret it?" "No, I'm not regretting it. It's just that if you can't do it, don't force it, otherwise you will be the one who suffers. HMPH, you are as timid as a mouse, and you are so afraid that your third brother will become like this. How can you be qualified to be the leader of this country? Then let the 8 of us help you." As he spoke, the 8 people connected by chance, and the huge and terrifying shadow behind them gradually materialized, revealing its true face. And the terrifying aura emanating from this phantom no longer belongs to the category of transcendence. At the same time, Qixing, who was sitting on the head of the stellar eagle, was sitting cross-legged and making seals with his hands, hoping to rely on the power of the contract to see how those guys would handle the matter. First, the power of the contract could clearly see everything in the kingdom of Zan through Long Awushan's eyes. I didn't expect that in just 3 days, I would successfully capture the kingdom of Zan. Not bad, not bad. Then he turned the power of the contract to Otsutsuki. This woman definitely had the brains and means. As soon as she arrived in the country of Otsutsuki, she had countless supporters who stood up to support her. In just 2 days, he successfully killed the rebels and successfully consolidated his position as the leader of the country. Qixing was delighted and slapped her thigh, "Okay. As expected of Kagaya." But when Qixing turned the power of the contract to Xing Wushang, his eyes widened in an instant and he said with a look of disbelief, "How is it possible? How could the person summoned by those 8 guys be him?" At this moment, Qixing recognized the summoned giant at a glance. This person is none other than Li Zhaoshan. This Li Zhaoshan was the person who was rescued from the star domain managed by Otsutsuki by Shinigami's split soul. At that time, Shinigami's split soul took Li Zhaoshan and fled to the ninja world, just in time to see the battle between Qixing and Madara. The 7-star system scanned a radius of 10 kilometers and had already noticed the sudden appearance of Li Zhaoshan. It was just because he was fighting Madara that he could not capture Li Zhaoshan. Unexpectedly, this guy knew the dangers of the ninja world, so he decided to go to the Pure Land for development. But this time, he fell into Shinigami's soul-splitting scheme. Li Zhaoshan didn't know that he was the holy body of 10,000 souls, a body that perfectly fit Shinigami. This is also one of the ultimate goals of Shinigami's split soul traveling in the dimensional world. Advertisement. At this moment, Qixing happened to see Li Zhaoshan's stern face through Xing Wushang's eyes. Li Zhaoshan shouted loudly, pointing the halberd in his hand to the sky, "Unparalleled halberd technique, Haki Zongung." I saw a halberd light falling from the Milky Way, slashing towards Yan Wudi, and Yan Wudi frowned when he saw this terrifying halberd light. It was not that he was afraid of this attack, but that if he dodged this attack, the entire Feng city would be affected. The city was divided into 2. This guy is threatening me with the life and death of the entire Fengdu city. I will use this move called Haki Zongung's halberd technique. Yan Wudi did the same thing, holding the hilt of the knife at his waist with his right hand, looking at the halberd in the sky, and with the same roar, he opened the sky with a sword and slashed the sky. When Yan Wudi finished speaking, he didn't see the sword in his hand coming out of its sheath. Even Qixing, who had passed the power of the contract, didn't notice it at all. He could only see an ever-increasing sword light suddenly appearing in front of Yan Wudi. From time to time, black light flashed on the sword light, accelerating the change of the sword light. When the two attacks collided, a terrifying explosion sound appeared above the heads of everyone in Fengdu City, directly flooding the entire Fengdu City. Those who heard the sound instantly vomited blood and fell to the ground. The sound waves dissipated, and Yan Wudi looked at the huge figure. Oh, has he changed his body again? This time is good, 10,000 souls holy body. The strength has been improved a lot. It's a pity that it's just a clone and I can't enjoy it as much as I can. Don't worry, I'll go find you now. As he spoke, a sword light appeared out of thin air again in front of Yan Wudi. This sword light was only 100 meters away, slashing horizontally towards the huge figure. The giant figure shouted loudly, and the black light of the halberd circulated in front of him. Unfortunately, the clone was far behind after all, and was cut into two sections by the 100-meter sword light. Turn into starlight and dissipate. At this moment, all the 8 gate guards were vomiting blood and fell to the ground, dying. Yan Wudi did not look at the 8 people, but said to the 4 transcendent 7th-level experts behind him, take good care of this kingdom of the underworld in Fengdu City. If I don't come back in 3 days, my second brother will take control of Yiming Kingdom. However, his temperament is not suitable to be the leader of the kingdom. If there is a more suitable candidate, I hope you will give in automatically. Hearing that his third brother had already found out about him, Yan Wushwang was dissatisfied, but he was not strong enough and could not help him. When Yan Wushwang looked up at his third brother again, Yan Wudi was nowhere to be seen. At this moment, Xing Wushang's eyes became clear. It was obvious that Qixing's consciousness had returned the moment Yan Wudi left. Qixing, who was sitting above Tiger Eagle at this moment, had guessed based on Yan Wudi's words just now that Li Zhaoshan should be the holy body of 10,000 souls, and of course he would be taken over by this old guy Shinigami. It turns out that the soul in Li Zhaoshan's body at that time was the split soul of Shinigami. If he had known this at that time, Qixing would have definitely eliminated this guy first. That guy must have greatly improved his strength after finding the holy body. Unexpectedly, when he saw this guy again, he turned out to be Shinigami's body. It seems that this old guy Shinigami has prepared a lot of unknown things. After Qixing left, when Xing Wushang learned that Yan Wudi had just appeared, he couldn't help but be stunned. There were huge ups and downs in my mind, and I almost felt unstable and fell out of the 6th level of transcendence. Just hearing this name, do you need to be so scared? Yan Linglong asked curiously. Chapter 273 Recovering Yan Wushwang thousands of miles away. At this moment, Xing Wushang's eyes were blank, and he murmured, why is that guy here? Didn't he declare himself a Jedi in the kingdom of the underworld, Kangming Mountain, and the ice mysterious altar when he broke through to transcendence? How could you appear here at this time? Could it be that, in just 10 years, he has already reached that point? Impossible, absolutely impossible. Maybe it's just the same name, maybe it's not him. That's right, maybe it's not him. If he is really the guy the first no, then our mission this time will definitely fail. Even if we die, we will never be able to complete your mission. Maybe you can fight with me in person. When Yan Linglong heard Xing Wushang say such depressing words, she couldn't help but wonder, although that guy is very strong, he's not to the point where adults are helpless. Besides, you seem to be familiar with this guy. Oh, we are more than familiar. It should be said that we are very familiar. 30 years ago, we traveled to this Pure Land world together. That time, my luck was improved by 2 levels. Otherwise, I would not be able to have the same destiny. With my current cultivation level, no matter how hard I try, I can't catch up with him. It must be a tragedy for the warriors of our generation to live in the same period as a monster like him. When Xing Wushang finished speaking, Yan Wushwang seemed to hear the conversation between the two hidden in the dark. He turned his head to Xing Wushang and smiled softly. You two have been hiding for so long, it's time to show up. At this moment, the two of them showed their bodies, and their aura was enough to reach the 7th level of transcendence. Although they could not defeat Yan Wushwang, they could easily change their masters when escaping from his hands, so the two of them were not afraid of Yan Wushwang. But Yan Wushwang didn't seem to pay too much attention to the appearance of the two of them, and just sighed to himself. My third brother, with his cultivation in the previous 2 lives, was born with the strength of the early immortal level. He left the kingdom of the underworld at the age of 17 and traveled around this world. Within 5 years, he worshipped all the heroes in the world. At the age of 25, integrating the memories of 3 generations, nirvana and rebirth. At that time, the strength also entered the 9th level of transcendence. This made our country of the underworld's reputation rise for a while. Even the ancestor who had been in seclusion for hundreds of years came out to congratulate Yan Wudi. At that time, he was less than 30, and he became a leader in this world. The top powerhouse. And I, after hundreds of years of hard work, have only reached the limit of transcending the 8th level. I know that I can only stop here. My talent has been exhausted and there is no possibility of progress. This is my limit. Is it wrong for me to pursue this power now? My father did not pass the position to me, but gave it to my eldest brother. I endured it, but my eldest brother died. I should inherit this position. Why did you come out to cause trouble again? Why? When the two of them heard this, they were sure. At this moment, Xing Wusheng thought of the words that Qixing left in his mind when he left. If there is a chance for Yan Wushang to sign the contract in your hand, you will have completed this task. It was also at this time that Xing Wusheng discovered that an ancient scroll had appeared in his hand. It turns out that the adults have already thought of everything. It's really amazing. As he spoke, he looked at Yan Wushang again. Brother Wushang, I'm Xing Wusheng. My master said that as long as you sign this contract, he will definitely support you in becoming the new king. Yan Wushang couldn't help but sneer. Your master, do you think your life is short? You actually reached out to our country of the underworld. What if you add me? After the words fell, everyone looked at the speaker. Yan Wushang's eyes were cold. Li Zhanxian, you are the first guest elder of our country of the underworld. Why? You are suddenly changing your camp to support me. My eldest brother has just death, and his two sons also have great potential. Advertisement. I can't believe you can't see through it like this. Haha, Wushang, you are joking. I am Lord Lishan. I am the third god guard. Hundreds of years ago, the 8 god tier guards fell apart because of Lord Lishan's nirvana and reincarnation. However, these days, Lord Lishan has after returning early, it's time for me to return to my position. You are definitely from the kingdom of evil. Is there anything strange about this? But now they are all Lord Qixing's people. Lord Lishan sent the message and fully cooperated with Xing Wusheng and Yan Linglong. Since they said that signing the contract will help you win this supreme position, I think that Lord will not break his promise. Li Zhanxian, what you said is true. That Lord is really that strong. Even Lord Li Shen is his. Haha, you should believe this. After speaking, Li Zhanxian took out the jade of Li Shen. The color of this jade pendant was milky white, and it was obvious that he wholeheartedly belonged to the kingdom of evil. Yan Wushang believed it now, and then looked at Xing Wusheng. Let me see the contract. With that said, with a casual move, the contract in Xing Wusheng's hand flew towards Yan Wushang. After just watching it for a few seconds, Yan Wushang felt that it was unreal. This contract did not restrict him at all, and he would do his best to help him win the kingdom of the underworld, and would let his third brother stay in Shinigami's lair forever. The only requirement is that when you need help, you must go all out. This simple request was replaced by a huge backer, so why not do it? At this moment, Yan Wushang didn't think too much. A drop of essence and blood fell on the ancient scroll. As soon as the contract was signed, a bright yellow light enveloped Yan Wushang, and then Yan Wushang's opportunities skyrocketed. In this country of the underworld, the huge fortune was drawn by the contract and poured crazily into Yan Wushang's head. The next moment, Yan Wushang broke through on the spot and directly reached the 9th level of transcendence. This was something he never dared to dream about, because this realm had been bothering him for decades and he had spent countless efforts unable to break through. But this time, just signing a contract resulted in a breakthrough. How could this not surprise Yan Wushang? At the same time, I was also sighing at the strength of the people behind the scenes. It seemed that I had made the right choice. At the same time, Yan Wudi, who was flying rapidly in the void, felt a familiar energy, swallowing up the destiny of the kingdom of the underworld, roaring, "Who is it?" As he said that, he was about to turn around and return, but the next moment, he felt another aura that had just broken through to the 9th level of transcendence. Who else could have this familiar scent but his second brother? Yan Wudi stopped and felt it for a while, then gave up his plan to return and chose to avenge his eldest brother. No matter how he tormented this country of the underworld, he is the only person closest to him after all. Shaking his head, the figure disappeared again, and saw Yan Wushang signing the contract and breaking through at the same time. Xing Wusheng and Yan Linglong also smiled. Say congratulations. At this moment, the impossible task was finally accomplished. After the two said something to King Wushang, they turned around and walked out of the kingdom of the underworld, heading to their final destination to meet up with the 7 stars. At this moment, Qixing was standing on top of Tiger Eagle's head, looking ahead, and at the same time, a piece of news came to his mind. Chapter 274 Yan Wudi's Strength. Just listen to the system prompt sound. Ding! Congratulations to host. In the kingdom of the underworld, Yan Wushang successfully signed the master servant contract. Close black lens bracket. Hearing this, Qixing raised the corner of his mouth slightly and said to himself, I thought it would take those two guys a long time to complete the task. I didn't expect that they succeeded in less than 4 days. What good luck. Then the next step is to kill Shinigami with all our strength and capture the country of Yuzan. Just when Qixing was thinking about whether he should explore Shinigami's background first, Yingxia reminded Qixing, in front of you, sir, is the Soul Heaven city of the kingdom of Yuzan. That city can be said to be the most powerful in the entire Pure Land world. The most terrifying city, he has been run by Shinigami for thousands of years, and there are so many powerful people in the city. Even though I have been restrained by Shinigami for hundreds of years, I still have to be careful to survive in this city. If your excellency has any intention of going in directly, I think it is better not to do so. It is better to wait for news from the other 4 countries. After thinking for a moment, Qixing nodded. Well, that's fine, then let's go in and explore Shinigami's background first, while waiting for the others to return. As he spoke, Qixing put away the Stellar's eagle 20 kilometers away from Huntian City. At this time, the majestic city in front was clearly visible. Even though it was so far away, one could feel a strong sense of vitality. Shrouded Huntian City. The 7 stars and 4 people fell downwards like cannonballs and smashed into a dense forest. The 4 of them then walked for more than 20 miles and finally arrived at the gate of this ancient city. After Yingsha directly showed his token, the 4 of them successfully entered Huntian City. There is a reason why this ancient giant city is called the strongest in the Pure Land. The guards who are just guarding the gate are definitely strong men at the immortal level. If they are placed in other cities, they can be regarded as the backbone of the city. But here is just a soldier guarding the city. This alone is better than all the cities. As soon as he entered the city, Qixing discovered that there was an inexplicable power in the sky, looking down below, as if he was being monitored by something powerful. When Yingsha saw Qixing looking up at the sky, he quickly interrupted, "Sir, don't look there, that's the earth spirit of this city. This city has existed for tens of thousands of years and has been nurtured by countless ancestors. These thousands of Nien has given birth to his own earth spirit. It can assist this city in surveying the passing crowds." No wonder the city guard didn't check the people passing by. It turns out that this city actually has such a rare thing. Okay, now that you have come in easily, let's get started. Everyone spread out to inquire about information from various sources. I have received intelligence from the 4 countries. In less than 2 hours, they will all gather outside Huntian City, and Yan Wudi is also coming to Huntian City on the way. He wants to avenge his elder brother, so we should let him help us find out the details of the old immortal Shinigami first. When the time comes, we should cooperate with the inside and the outside to take down Huntian City in one fell swoop. If we can find the retreat of that guy Shinigami first, remember to pass the news to Yan Wudi. I think this favor will be very important. Let's disperse. Meet here in an hour. As soon as the words fell, 3 figures disappeared beside Qixing. However, less than half an hour after Qixing arrived at Seoul Heaven City, he saw a 3-foot green peak floating behind Yan Wudi, breaking through the barrier laid by the earth spirit of the city, and standing in the sky above the entire city with 1 man and 1 sword. The terrifying aura radiated around. Next moment. In Huntian City, a luxurious courtyard building in the north of the city, in the 7-story attic called Shenglong Pavilion, 3 auras that transcended the 8th level were instantly withdrawn after encountering Yan Wudi's aura. It seems that he is an old acquaintance of this person and is extremely wary of him. Advertisement. On the south side of the city, 2 auras of transcendence of the 9th level and 4 of 8 levels of transcendence rushed towards Yan Wudi's aura. The auras of both sides collided without giving in at all. Looking at the west end of the city, there are the largest auction houses in the entire Pure Land world. On the top of the most luxurious attic, a middle-aged man in green clothes stood on top. This person is holding the mohao and swiping the pen in the air. He is actually using the power of heaven and earth to draw talismans in the void. This person actually managed to fight against Yan Wudi with the power of 1 person alone. This person is the head of the largest family in Huntian City, Mo Wuyan. This person controls the auction affairs of the entire 6th floor of the Pure Land world, and can be said to be the most powerful person besides Shinigami. Finally, there is the east of the city. There is no imposing figure there. There is only an old man holding a broom and sweeping a huge platform. There are about a dozen void passages on the platform, which are constantly shining. There are 2 people at the entrance of each passage. The guards guarding each person's aura are only at the peak of the immortal level. And these passages are exactly the several otherworld gates that Shinigami has spent great efforts to connect, and among them is the passage to the ninja world. Of course, these channels are only one-way transmission. They were established by Shinigami in order to collect more resources and spent countless efforts. When Yan Wudi's momentum radiated here, a barrier came from nowhere to block Yan Wudi's momentum from the huge platform. And Yan Wudi didn't pay too much attention. His purpose was just to find Shinigami, and he said at this moment, "I'm here to take revenge on Shinigami. Anyone who has nothing to do with it should leave quickly." But no one paid any attention to him, and he even felt more and more momentum pressing towards him. Yan Wudi roared angrily, "Get out of here," and then the sword floating behind him unsheathed and swept around Yan Wudi. The sword energy flew in all directions. In the 3 directions of the north, south and west of the city, the heads of several families who were confronting Yan Wudi took a few steps back and spit out a mouthful of blood for several meters. It was obvious that the inner palace was seriously injured. Then several people sat cross-legged and began to adjust their breath. Keep your inner breath stable. Only Mo Wuyan stood firm, and the bricks and rubble under his feet were already in pieces. But in this confrontation, Mo Wuyan knew that he was defeated. He turned around and jumped off the roof and walked into his room. After using this sword, no one in the entire Huntian City dared to stop his steps. And just when Yan Wudi was about to look for Shinigami's figure, a dark shadow appeared 100 meters behind Yan Wudi. "Brother Invincible, long time no see." Yan Wudi narrowed his eyes when he saw the coming man. He knew that if he faced him head-on, this guy would be no match for him, but if he attacked by surprise, no one would be more professional than him. At this time Yan Wudi said, "Why are you here to stop me?" No, brother Invincible has misunderstood. I have terminated the contract with Shinigami, and now I have officially transferred to Master Qixing. I appear here to tell you that Shinigami is retreating in his Heavenly Soul Hall and Earth Palace. He has created a new way of heaven has emerged, and I think this time I will break through to the god level. After saying this, Yingsha's figure turned into smoke and disappeared. When he heard the news, Yan Wudi just frowned slightly. He is indeed an immortal who has lived for thousands of years. There is no way to go in this world, and he actually created a new way by himself. I really underestimated him. I will make your plans of thousands of years go to waste today. Chapter 275 The Underworld Sword and the 12 Soul Keepers Obstruction. After saying these words, Yan Wudi felt that his whole body was full of momentum. In an instant, the aura of the pseudo-god realm swept through the entire Huntian city. At this moment, the ground of Huntian city began to tremble. When the few people who had just fought against him saw that this guy was in the realm of a false god, they withdrew their momentum even faster and gradually hid themselves. At the same time, just below Yan Wudi, 12 figures in black robes rose into the sky. 12 people surrounded Yan Wudi and instantly formed a strange battle formation. Yan Wudi put his fingers together with the sword, and clicked it 3 times in succession. He saw the 6 paths sword light, turning into 6 small swords, flying out in 6 directions, and the sword light disappeared into the bodies of 6 of them. I originally thought that the 6 people would lose their combat effectiveness if they were hit from the front, but they didn't expect that the 6 people just let out a muffled groan and then turned out to be unscathed. When the other 6 people saw that Yan Wudi was in a neutral position to attack, the 6 of them formed strange hand seals at the same time, and shouted in unison, 6 Meridian's sword, Liuhe slash. The next moment, a sharp giant blade suddenly appeared in the sky, slashing directly towards Yan Wudi's head. Yan Wudi had no intention of evading at all. He saw an explosion of energy all over his body. The sword suspended behind him just turned. The scabbard flashed with cold light. A yellow sword energy rose into the sky, and collided with the 6 Meridian sword. With a bang there was an explosion, and then the 2 forces cancelled each other out. Qixing, who was still in Huntian City at this moment, stood on a rooftop, looking up at the battle in the sky. He whispered in a low voice, this is actually the 12 Capital Heavenly Corpse Evil Formation. That old immortal Shinigami actually created such a pervert battle formation. This must have been obtained after he opened the passage to other worlds. At the same time, the system also told Qixing, this battle formation requires 12 dead men to be activated at the same time. After the battle formation is activated, these 12 people will be corroded by the corpse energy that has been poured into their bodies in an instant, and become painless killing machines. And the strength is directly increased by more than 10 times. Close black lens bracket. And the stronger the stored corpse energy is, the more strength will be improved. Obviously, what was poured into the bodies of the 12 people was at least the corpse energy of a god-level expert. Because the 6 people originally only had the strength of the 4th level of transcendence, after starting the battle formation, they all became the 8th level of transcendence. Close black lens bracket. Hearing what the system said, Qixing was shocked. This is stronger than my own bloodline, and it can promote 12 people at the same time. This battle formation is far inferior to your bloodline, because once the corpse energy of this formation is exhausted and stops functioning, the souls of these 12 people will be gone. Close black lens bracket. Luckily the side effects are very strong. Otherwise it wouldn't be heaven-defying. But it's right to be more powerful. Otherwise, it would be impossible to compete with Yan Wudi who is in the pseudo-god realm. He would just be slightly behind. But if the fight continues like this, even with Yan Wudi's strength, he will not be able to kill these 12 people in a short time. Even if he wins, it will definitely take a lot of time. After all, the amount of corpse energy is enough for these 10 people. The 2 of them fought all day long. Although Yan Wudi, is strong, he is only in the pseudo-god realm. And these 12 people are Shinigami's most powerful secret weapons, the 12 soul-guarding slaves. At this moment, Qixing's mind was full of thoughts, if I can help Yan Wudi quickly kill these 12 guys, then this guy will owe me another favor. Thinking of this, Qixing immediately checked to see if there was anything in the system that could suppress these 12 guys. And Yan Wudi was having a great time fighting with the 12 corpse slaves. From time to time, signs of the void being torn apart appeared in the sky. If these people were fighting on this earth, I am afraid that this Soul Heaven city would have been razed to the ground long ago. At this moment, after several minutes of searching, Qixing lived up to his expectations and found a good thing in the system mall. Advertisement. It's called the Corpse Suppression Talisman. The function of this talisman is very single. It can only suppress living corpses and corpse energy. It has no other effects. It is also very cheap and only costs 500 points. At this moment, Qixing bought 12 talismans one after another, flew up, took 6 talismans in each hand, and threw them at the 12 black-robed men like cannonballs. The men in black robes sensed something flying behind them that the corpse energy in their bodies was afraid of, and they all wanted to dodge. Qixing shouted, Yan Wudi, don't let them get out of the way. This talisman can suppress the power in their bodies. Yan Wudi heard Qixing's words. Although he didn't believe it, the big move that had been brewing for a few minutes was already on the line. I saw the long sword behind Yan Wudi, which was shining with golden light before it was unsheathed. Then the golden light split into 12 points and instantly appeared above the heads of the 12 black-robed men. Seeing this sword move, Qixing was able to break through the barriers of space and suddenly appeared above the 12 people. He was also shocked. This guy's understanding of space has reached such a level. I'm afraid he has understood the rules of space to the ultimate. In addition, this guy's understanding of the way of the sword is also ridiculously strong. This Yan Wudi's combat power is comparable to that of a lower god. Just as Qixing was stunned, the 12 men in black robes were also startled by the sudden appearance of the lightsaber. If they dodge the strange talisman at this time, their bodies will definitely be pierced by the golden sword light, but if they don't dodge, that strange talisman will definitely suppress his own strength. After weighing the pros and cons, several people decided not to dodge. The 12 people connected with each other and raised their hands above their heads, as if they were holding up the sky. The 12 people took a sharp breath at the same time, and the corpse energy in the body immediately appeared outside the body, traveled along the various meridians, and finally fell on the hands. Looking at the hands of the 12 people, they were infected by corpse energy and had already become extremely dark. At this moment, the golden sword light directly hit the dark hands of the 12 people. Everyone in Huntian City only heard the sound of gold and iron clashing. Then the eardrums vibrated, as if there was a sound that stimulated the soul, penetrating the eardrums, making people roll on the spot in pain, but ordinary people without cultivation were not affected at all. It was also strange that there were suddenly so many cultivators around, falling to the ground and covering their ears, as if something had penetrated their ears. When those lying on the ground stood up slowly with lingering fear and looked at the sky again, the battle between Yan Wudi and the 12 black-robed men was nearing its end. Because the moment they chose to let the talisman close to them, they were doomed to lose. Although the 12 people used their strength at the same time and successfully blocked Yan Wudi's 12 golden sword lights, at the same time, the talisman that crashed into their bodies also played a role. At this moment, the 12 black-robed men only felt that their bodies were stiff, their chi and blood were coagulated, their meridians were blocked, and even 1/3 of the corpse chi in their bodies was unable to be mobilized. The strength was greatly reduced. Yan Wudi was delighted when he saw this. Although the first sword did not kill these guys, his Wangquan sword had 3 sword moves. Just now I just used the first move, with one sword, the underworld is in the sky. Looking at Yan Wudi at this moment, with his fingers together and the sword pointed upward, the underworld sword behind him finally revealed its true appearance, but the strange thing is that the underworld sword does not have a sword blade, or maybe the sword body is transparent. Yan Wudi shouted loudly, "Sword 2," and banished the body. Chapter 276 Shinigami was interrupted and broke through. As soon as Yan Wudi finished speaking, the surroundings of the transparent Wangquan sword began to emit yellow fluorescence, and the fluorescence gradually gathered to form a brand new sword body. It turns out that the underworld sword itself does not have a sword body. The true body of the sword seemed to be exiled in an extremely cold place, and was being summoned by Yan Wudi at this moment. As soon as the yellow sword appeared, bursts of biting cold swept through the entire Huntian city. Everyone in the city began to return home to escape the sudden chill. The coldness in the sky directly froze the 12 nearest men in black robes on the spot. Originally, most of the blood in the 12 people's bodies had been solidified by the 7-star talismans, coupled with the sudden cold. To make matters worse, the 12 people were now in the air, unable to even make large movements. If it weren't for the blessing of the 12 capital heavenly corpse evil formation, I'm afraid they would all fall to the ground. How could a strong man like Yan Wudi not seize this opportunity? At this moment, Yan Wudi held the Wangquan sword for the first time. The blade of the sword stretched rapidly. In the blink of an eye, it exceeded 100 meters. The 12 people had no time to react. They couldn't even shout. They were stopped by this 100 meters. The Wangquan sword broke through the zombie formation and cut it into 24 sections. Bodies fell to the ground one after another. But these guys are not dead yet, they are still climbing on each other, looking for their other half. Yan Wudi frowned upon seeing this and said, "A centipede insect is dead but not stiff." To avoid further trouble, Yan Wudi threw the Wangquan sword behind him and inserted it into the scabbard. I don't know what kind of strange seal the hands formed, but behind him, I saw a huge golden 3-headed and 6-armed sign, flickering in and out. Then his body hit the ground like a cannonball. There was a bang, and a terrifying energy radiated within thousands of meters, splashing countless smoke and dust. Time passed by, and when the smoke and dust cleared, Qixing stood on the roof, looking in the direction of Yan Wudi, and saw that Yan Wudi's body within 500 meters had sunk deep into the ground, sinking 3 meters deep. The bodies of the 12 soul-guarding slaves who were infected by the corpse energy were even more unbearable when they were broken into 2 sections. They were directly smashed into meat cakes by this powerful and heavy blow. At this moment, Qixing looked at Yan Wudi's eyes, already a little wary. This guy's fighting power is really comparable to the lower gods, B***************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** At the same time, in a closed space, a dark figure was sitting cross-legged. The space was entirely inlaid with crimson crystals, and those crimson crystals emitted massive amounts of divine power, all of which were darkened. The figure is absorbed. I saw that the aura of the figure was getting stronger and stronger, and the body appeared and disappeared. What was even stranger was that there was something like a dark cloud above the man's head, which was releasing natural thunder and falling again and again. It seems to be helping him temper his body. And this dark figure is none other than the leader of the country of Yuzan, and currently the strongest person in the Pure Land world, Shinigami Yuzan Wuya. Seeing this guy's breath rising rapidly, he has reached the final moment of breakthrough. Suddenly, there was a tightness in the chest, and poof, a mouthful of blood came out of his mouth. Shinigami opened his eyes, slightly confused. Who actually killed my 12 soul-guarding slaves in such a short period of time? Could it be that those old immortal false gods joined forces? If I hadn't reached the last moment, I would have killed you right now. As he spoke, Shinigami closed his eyes again, but the next moment the entire confined space began to shake. Advertisement. At this moment, Shinigami felt the urge to curse. But he sensed that someone had entered his underground palace and started a crazy destruction mode. Shinigami was furious. Who is it that wants to disturb this god's breakthrough? As soon as Shinigami finished speaking, before he could stand up, a big golden foot crushed the secret room made of divine power crystals. In the smoke and dust, a dark cloud rose into the sky above Shinigami's head. There was still a trace of blood spilling from the corner of his mouth, and he was already furious. He shouted loudly, "Who dares to disturb this god's breakthrough? You are seeking death." As he spoke, a purple lightning beam as thick as a thumb shot out from a dark cloud above his head. The lightning speed was extremely fast and rushed straight towards the golden giant transformed in front of Yan Wudi. The giant raised his hand to block. Qixing saw this and shouted, "Yan Wudi, get out of the way, that's the Zishao thunder." But when Yan Wudi heard this, it was too late. The purple thunder light instantly penetrated the golden giant's arm, and by the way, Yan Wudi was blasted thousands of meters away. He spit out a mouthful of reverse blood. Yan Wudi looked at Shinigami in the sky and the dark clouds above his head with smart eyes. Is that the way of heaven? That's not right. If it were really the way of heaven, the purple sky thunder just now would have destroyed me directly, and it would not have only caused me a slight injury, but that thing has no difference at all from the characteristics of the way of heaven. Could it be? Is it above your head? What is it? Hearing Yan Wudi's words, Shinigami was very happy and smiled. Young people have good vision. You guessed it right. This is exactly what I spent a huge price on, replenishing countless resources, using the aura collected from the real body of heaven, and after nearly 10,000 years of cultivation, it finally came into being. A glimmer of self-awareness. Although he is not complete yet, you can see that he has great potential. Not only can he help me temper my body and absorb the Tao foundation, but it can also help me break through to the god level. Young man, you are very good. In less than 50 years, you have already reached the pseudo-god realm. I don't think anyone in this Pure Land world is more talented than you. I now officially invite you to join my country of Yuzan. Everything you have done before, even killing my soul keeper slave, I can ignore. And when I successfully break through and directly enter the middle god queen, in this world, I will successfully promote him to the high-level world. At that time, you will be my #1 admiral. When Yan Wudi heard Shinigami's words, he sneered, I didn't expect you to be capable of seizing the Tao foundation of the 3 major kingdom masters. You also used the nascent heavenly Tao to fuse the Tao foundation. I'm afraid you have been planning this plan for thousands of years. Yes, those 3 guys are useless, but they can sit on the throne of the country. It's all because of my push. After all these years, it's time for them to repay me. At this moment, Yan Wudi frowned. It turns out that Yan Junwang had the worst qualifications back then, but he became the leader of the country. This made Yan Wushwang hateful. The driving force behind all this is you, an old monster who has lived for nearly 10,000 years. Shinigami just thought Yan Wudi admired him and was still laughing. Yan Wudi figured this out and sneered, "Do you know who I am?" Shinigami frowned and touched the dark clouds above his head with his right hand. The next moment his eyes twisted. You are the 3rd son of the Yan family in the kingdom of the underworld. Yan Wudi. I didn't expect that in the past few decades, I didn't care about worldly affairs, but I missed your existence. Your father is really cunning and hid you very well. Chapter 277 3 of Swords, Wangquan Shira opens the sky and destroys the world. But none of this matters. As long as you are willing, I can let heaven appoint you as the new leader of the kingdom of the underworld. When luck comes, you will surely be able to break through to the lower gods easily. Quote. How? Hearing Shinigami's words, Yan Wudi thought it was a joke. Since it was you who pushed my eldest brother to become the leader, you must have killed my father. Your father, that old guy, is a very powerful man. He really wants to unite the 3 countries and destroy our country of Yuzan. Fortunately, I have arranged people around your father. Otherwise, I was seriously injured at that time, and I might have been killed. They succeeded. I had to send her to die. And if he doesn't die, how will your eldest brother get to the top? If your eldest brother doesn't die, how will you get to the top? You have to know that every harvest is not free. Of course you have to pay back what I have done for you after a few years. After listening to Shinigami's words, Yan Wudi took a deep breath. Without saying anything, the yellow sword light shined brightly behind him. Drink softly in the mouth. Sword blow, the underworld is in the sky. Cut. I saw the underworld sword behind Yan Wudi, trembling. The blade could not come out. The scabbard was shining with golden light. It quickly disappeared in an instant, and when it reappeared, it was already above the dark clouds above Shinigami's head. Without any reaction, the yellow sword light disappeared directly into the dark clouds. The next moment, the dark clouds emitted purple thunder of their own accord, and the thunder crackled, trapping the 12 golden lightsabers within it. But this was not over yet. Yan Wudi, after using Sword 1, directly grasped the hilt of the underworld sword. The sword body had already been summoned. The moment he drew out the underworld sword, the sword length directly reached 1,000 meters. Yan Wudi did not hesitate. Use the special skill, Sword 2, to banish the body. The super long sword was in the air and struck from Shinigami's head. The newly born dark clouds of heaven were split in half by this terrifying underworld sword. Then it went straight to Shinigami's head. After the newborn Tiandao was divided into two, 12 of the lightsabers were freed and attacked Shinigami again. Shinigami's face was a little solemn, and 2 attacks fell at the same time. Shinigami was angry. If I hadn't been in the critical period of cross-level breakthrough, I would have used all my strength to kill you. But even though the current Shinigami couldn't exert his full strength, he quickly pulled out a strange disc from his waist. Then raise it towards the top of your head. The disc grows in the wind, growing to 3 meters in size in just one breath. This is obviously a huge shield. I saw countless ferocious faces roaring on the shield. At this moment, Yan Wudi's Sword 1 and Sword 2 finally hit the grimace shield raised by Shinigami. First, there was an earth-shattering explosion, and smoke and dust began to rise on the ground. Then, only 12 ding-dong knocks were heard, and the roars of countless evil spirits. People who saw this scene thought that Shinigami would be seriously injured, but when the smoke cleared, Shinigami stood firmly on the ground, and his body was even unscathed. That terrifying grimace shield blocked all Yan Wudi's attacks. The sound of B*************G and B********** G echoed throughout Huntian City. Then there was a crisp sound, and the 1,000-meter underworld sword in Yan Wudi's book was broken into 2 sections in the middle. This made Qixing stunned when he saw this scene. What's going on? Yan Wudi's Wangquan sword is also a super divine weapon after all. It's only 1 step away from becoming a star weapon. How could it be cut off so easily? Could it be that Shinigami's grimace shield is a star weapon? System view target. Ding. Target Shinigami, Yuzan Wuya. Close black lens bracket. Advertisement. In the realm, the false god who is in the stage of 2 consecutive breakthroughs cannot exert his full strength. If he uses force forcefully, the 2 consecutive breakthroughs will be interrupted. So many people can only successfully break through to the lower gods. Combat power. Lower god. Talent. Unknown. Special ability. 10,000 souls are addicted to the body. Special weapons. Growth type armor. 9 nether shield. It can absorb endless ghosts into the shield. Every time 1,000 ghosts are added, the match will be upgraded by 1 level. Weapons unique ability. Rebound attack. Completely absorb and transform the damage caused by hitting the shield, and rebound it to the attacking weapon. There is a 20% chance that this pair of weapons will attack. Weapon level. Artifact level. Others. Unknown. Because there is a way to cover up its own secrets, a lot of points need to be spent to investigate. I would like to ask the host if he agrees. Close black lens bracket. No. After hearing the large amount of points, Qixing knew that nothing good was going to happen. He had no intention of knowing himself and his enemy, because his coalition troops soon arrived on the battlefield. And seeing that this weapon is just an artifact makes me feel relieved. After all, the gap between artifacts and star weapons is really too big. Although this armor has its own counterattack capabilities, it is not invincible. However, the data shows that Shinigami is in the critical stage of breakthrough and cannot use his full strength, so now is a good time to destroy his opportunity to directly become a mid-level god. If you let your guy directly become the middle god, I am afraid that the world hundreds of light years around the Pure Land world will be occupied by him. Qixing thought a lot at this moment. Then the system mall was recruited. Check to see if there are any props that can block the weapon. If you use it at the critical moment, this guy may be doomed. At the same time, Yan Wudi looked solemn at this moment, and was shocked in his heart. That ghost face shield is so powerful, it easily broke the underworld sword that he summoned. HMPH, did you think that was the end? Saying that, Yan Wudi once again cast a strange seal, and blood filled his body. Instantly, the void behind him opened wide, and a bloody sword light connected to the hilt of the underworld sword. When Shinigami saw this sword, his expression was extremely unkind. This is the Shira sword. You are the inheritor of those 3 old guys, how is that possible? They shouldn't be able to accept disciples. Is it to deal with me? Very well. How dare you plot against me behind my back, you bastards? After saying this, Shinigami took out 2 miniature versions of auspicious clouds from somewhere and threw them towards the dark clouds above his head. The next moment, the dark clouds came together again, expanding rapidly like taking stimulants. When Qixing saw the miniature version of Shangyan, he was stunned and said, "System, that just seemed to be a fragment of the heavenly Tao of the primary world." Ding. Host saw it right. It is indeed a fragment of the heavenly Tao of the primary world. Close black lens bracket. Damn, this guy just used this as a snack to cultivate this new ninja world. It's a waste of natural resources. How many resources does this old immortal hold in his hands? Just when Qixing was surprised by the details in Shinigami's hand, Shinigami waved his hand again, and dozens of purple thunderbolts fell from the dark clouds above his head, forming a whirlwind and hitting Yan Wudi. Yan Wudi did not dodge. He held the hilt of the underworld sword in his hand, and the body of the Shira sword was filled with blood. At this moment, Sword 3, which Yan Wudi had never used before, finally revealed its true face. I saw Yan Wudi, the moment he used Jian-san, the blood-colored Shira sword body, and the blood light enveloped the entire Soul Heaven City, and only heard Yan Wudi yell angrily, Jian-san. Huang Quan Shira opened the sky and destroyed the world. Chapter 278 The Reincarnation of the True Soul, Li Jiaoshan. As soon as the words fell, the hilt of the Wangquan sword in Yan Wudi's hand and the body of the Shira sword disappeared at the same time. Then the clouds opened up in the sky. The whole city looked up at the sky. There was a huge bloody sword over 10,000 meters, falling from the sky through the clouds. If he is allowed to fall, not only the Soul City will be wiped out, but even half of the Pure Land world will be split open by this sword. Shinigami also looked up at the sky at this moment. The body trembled slightly. It's not fear but anger. This B*************** D is trying to destroy my foundation. Saying hello is not enough to express Shinigami's mood at this moment. Shinigami glared at the weak Yan Wudi. Now was the best opportunity to kill him, but it was no longer needed at this time. Because, if Shinigami had not stopped the bloody giant sword in front of him, not only his nearly 10,000 years foundation would have been destroyed, but the entire Soul Sky City would also have been destroyed on the spot. I am afraid that at this moment, Yan Wudi has already planned to die with Shinigami, and he has no intention of leaving at all. Shinigami burst into anger and swung out a palm, sending Yan Wudi flying 1,000 meters. Then he turned around and directly summoned the newborn Tiandao, raised his hand and drove it into the huge ghost-faced shield in his hand. The next moment, the ghost-faced shield seemed to have life, and automatically met the 10,000-meter blood sword above his head. The grimace shield is good at facing the wind, and the closer it gets to the giant sword, the larger it becomes. But Yan Wudi's sword not only contains what he has learned throughout his life, but also contains the power of 3 different laws. That was the law left behind by the 3 teachers Yan Wudi followed when he traveled across the mainland when he was young. They are also the 3 old men who Shinigami always wanted to plot against him. At this moment, Shinigami felt the familiar aura coming from the huge sword. He knew in his heart that even the combination of his divine weapon and the newly born heavenly Tao could not stop this terrifying blow. Now it was time for him to make a decision. Damn it, it happens to be this time. As long as you give me half an hour, I will be able to perfectly integrate the Taoist foundations of those 3 guys and directly break through to the middle god. Who can be my opponent at that time? But come to think of it, who would be stupid enough to give him half an hour to break through? As he spoke, Shinigami's artifact, the ghost face shield, had grown to 1,000 meters, and the next second it hit the tip of the huge blood sword head on. I saw that the nascent heavenly Tao in the giant shield manifested the Tao Yun, wrapped the giant shield, and successfully upgraded the giant shield by 1 level. Pseudo-star device. The violent energy on the tip of the sword constantly destroys the giant ghost-faced shield. But they were all eliminated by the Tao Yun released by the newly born heavenly Tao. Everyone only heard a creaking sound, and the 1,000-meter ghost face shield blocked the huge blood sword in midair. Everyone thought it was a success and there was no need to die. But Qixing, who was standing on a rooftop, chuckled, "Haha, I won't let you block it so easily," he said and gave a sigh to the sky. "Uncle, if you don't take action now, you will lose the best opportunity." Those who heard this just felt baffled. The boy standing on the roof was yelling about something, but only Shinigami and Tendo in the ghost-faced shield could sense the strange fluctuations. The next moment, a huge face transformed from white clouds appeared behind the ghost-faced shield. I don't know what means the white clouds used to suck out the newborn Tiandao that Shinigami had punched into the ghost-faced shield. Shinigami roared when he saw this, "UB************ D came out, how dare you?" But no one in the sky paid attention to him. The big face of Baiyun that appeared at this time was the real Pure Land Heavenly Tao who signed a contract with Qixing. Although he was in a weak state, he had absorbed the elementary Heavenly Tao of the ninja world and had recovered a lot. Advertisement. At this moment, white clouds and dark clouds are wrestling, pulling each other. The huge blood sword in the sky began to suppress the ghost face mask and slowly fell towards Huntian City. At this moment, the giant shield that had lost the blessing of the newborn heaven was constantly cracking. As time went by, the cracks became bigger and bigger. Finally, the tip of the blood sword penetrated the ghost-faced giant shield and slashed towards Shinigami quickly. Seeing this scene, Shinigami cursed angrily, what I lack most now is time. As long as I successfully break through, even if everything here is lost, I will regain it. Shinigami looked pained, and took out a lavender talisman from his arms. The talisman seemed to have some kind of magic power, and it automatically moved towards the bloody giant sword above Shinigami's head. The next moment, the talisman's purple light burst out, and the bloody giant sword was fixed thousands of meters above the void. At this moment, Shinigami breathed a sigh of relief, and at the same time, as if he had made a choice, he decided to give up on Soul Heaven City, turned around and rushed towards the east of the city. At this moment, the old man who was cleaning the square on the east side of the city couldn't help but raise his head. He looked at Shinigami who was running towards him and said, "Hello, Sir Shinigami, do you need to use the space channel now?" At this moment, there are about a dozen void passages on the platform. The lights that should have been shining gradually extinguished, leaving only one passage leading to the ninja world still shining. Obviously, these passages were closed by the old man in advance, and it would take a lot of time to open them again. Shinigami was about to roar when suddenly, the old man's big hand reached into Shinigami's abdomen, and his sky-raising palm hit Shinigami's abdomen. A mouthful of blood spurted out more than 10 meters away. Shinigami looked at the old man in disbelief. You betrayed me. When the old man sweeping the floor heard this, he was neither sad nor happy, and said calmly, there is no betrayal. I was one of the 9 god-tier guards under Li Shen 3,000 years ago. Now that Li Shen has fully awakened his memory and returned, of course I have to return to my position. As for taking action against you, I'm sorry, but some people want you to die. Who are you talking about? Jia Li. The old man ignored him and just looked at Qixing, who came out. When Shinigami saw Qixing, a flash of light flashed through his mind. It's you useless kid. I didn't expect that even you would grow to this point. Why do you two just want to kill me? Don't you think so little of me? Qixing finally saw Shinigami up close for the first time. Sure enough, my guess was right. You are not seizing the body. This is the holy body of 10,000 souls. Li Jiaoshan, it is indeed you. At that time, in the ninja world, it was just a thought. When I scanned your presence, I knew that you were not an ordinary person. It turns out that you are Shinigami's biggest competitor in 10,000 years. The true soul reincarnated and chose a 10,000 souls holy body in other worlds. I'm afraid half of your resources have been spent on this body. It's really scheming. Hearing Qixing say this, Shinigami frowned. You know all about the holy body of 10,000 souls, and you also know that I am the reincarnation of the true soul. Who are you? It's impossible for anyone to know about this, except for a few of my clones. How did you know this secret? Nanahoshi just chuckled and didn't say much. How could he tell Shinigami that he had a cheat? But in this state, Shinigami just doesn't take him seriously. In the eyes of others, it's just pretentious. Chapter 279. Everyone gathers to besiege Shinigami. How could Shinigami endure it at this moment? Although he couldn't use his full strength, the 7 stars in front of him were only at the 6th level of transcendence. How could he be his opponent? This kind of ant also wanted to challenge his own authority. Shinigami's energy exploded all over his body, and he held his big hand in the air, and a terrifying energy was directed towards Qixing. Qixing did not dodge, because at this time, Bai Lao had already appeared in front of Qixing. Bai Lao only had a flash of red light around his body and easily blocked Shinigami's blow. Seeing this, Shinigami said, You, old man, you are definitely a transcendent 9th level existence. How did you deceive me for so many years? Don't tell me. Then die. But as soon as Shinigami finished speaking, a shadow emerged from Shinigami's shadow, and a silver dagger stabbed directly into Shinigami's waist. Shinigami was in pain and swung his right fist towards the back. The shadow's hands were spread out. When Shinigami punched, a wave of terrifying air blew the shadow 100 meters away. Shadow stood 100 meters away and twisted his dislocated right hand. Shinigami was a little surprised when he saw Cage Shaw. I let you go free, but you still come to die. You think you 3 losers can do nothing about me? Ying Sha did not answer. He twisted his left hand hard and straightened the bones of his right hand. There was a crisp sound and the bones were in the right position. At the same time, Ying Sha held a dagger in his right hand and slashed behind him. A crack was opened in the void behind him, and then it slowly became larger. A beautiful voice came from the crack, what if you add me again? When everyone heard this, they all looked towards the crack, and saw a graceful and luxurious woman, holding a green ball in her hand, descending on the teleportation square with a monstrous force. This person is none other than Kagaya Haim and his pet Lord Gigi. Shinigami was shocked again. Otsutsuki, you are here after all, but I want to escape, and you can't stop me. But just after Shinigami finished speaking, Long Aowushin and Dragon Blood Warrior arrived at the same time and shouted, Sir Shinigami, we are here to help you. Seeing his capable subordinates, Shinigami was a little relieved. You stand behind me, these guys are not something you can deal with. After hearing this, the two landed and walked behind Shinigami. Suddenly, they both shot at the same time, and 2 terrifying palm winds hit Shinigami's waist directly. Shinigami was shot dozens of meters away before he regained his balance. He turned around with a look of disbelief on his face and looked at the two of them. Even you betrayed me. You have fallen under the power of my spell and will be bound by me for the rest of your life. Do you think I am joking with you? Shinigami said with blood spilling from the corner of his mouth, and made a hand with his left hand, hoping to directly detonate the talisman in the 2 people's bodies. But the next moment, the 2 of them were standing intact, looking at Shinigami with expressions like fools on their faces. As if to ridicule. Shinigami does not believe in evil. How is it possible? How could my spell fail? Unless there is a more advanced spell to replace him, isn't it? I understand. Everything was done by you, this good-for-nothing boy. After saying that, Shinigami spat out a mouthful of blood again. Long Aowushin and Long Shizanji didn't speak, they just retreated to Qixing's side. Seeing this scene, Shinigami laughed wildly. I planned 10,000 years, but I didn't expect that in the end, you would be the one planning it. I would get mixed up with this kid like you. Advertisement. Huh, I really thought you guys could stop me from breaking through. If I wanted to, even if you doubled your manpower, you wouldn't be able to stop me. But Shinigami just finished speaking. The next moment, several voices came from all directions. What if we are added? The sound came from far to near, and when Shinigami saw the faces and clothing of several people clearly, he couldn't stand at all. The new king of the kingdom of the underworld, Yan Wushwang, leading his elite troops to attack. The Bai family in the Eternal City, Bai Jinting, led his elite men to help Lord Qixing. The new king of Zon Kingdom, Huo Feiyan, led his elite troops to attack. In the kingdom of demons, the demon army, and the 800,000 imperial army commander, Demon Yi, came to report. I have met Lord Lishan. At this moment, several figures walked out from behind Qixing again, including Yan Linglong, Xing Wushang, Man Niu, and Fat Tiger. All of them are transcendent. When Shinigami saw these people, his eyes narrowed slightly. Is this your backup plan? It's not bad. It seems that you have already planned to force me to give up the promotion to the middle god. Quote. Okay. Very good. I will fulfill your wish. Even if it is just a lower god, it is not something that you group of rabble can contend with. Since you are looking for death, it doesn't matter if I wait for a few more years before making a breakthrough. Now you all die to me. After saying that, Shinigami shouted loudly, break it for me. The next moment, countless rays of light flashed out from Shinigami's body. Then there was a crackling and popping sound coming from his body. It seemed like something was about to break out of its shell. Upon seeing this, Qixing knew that Shinigami had given up 2 consecutive breakthroughs and chose to become a lower god directly. Let's all come together. This guy wants to break through to the lower gods. Don't let him break through so comfortably. Don't give him the slightest chance to breathe. With that said, everyone swarmed and started to use their special skills. I saw that Shadow Kill was the fastest, and the 10,000 kills Shadow Slash came out of my hand. 2 silver daggers came to Shinigami in an instant, but Shinigami broke through the lower god, as if he had arranged a means, and there seemed to be a powerful barrier in front of him to block the intrusion of all things. Just after the shadow killing ability was released, Long Awushan and Dragon Blood Warrior G took action at the same time, combining skills, Dragon and Phoenix 9 Heavens Slash. Only a phantom of a precious dragon and a phantom of a red phoenix were seen falling from the sky, but they were still blocked. Can't get close to Shinigami. When Kagaya G saw this, she did not take action, but just looked at Bai Lao behind her. The meaning is obvious, you have to take action. As for why Kagaya Heim doesn't take action, it's because the personality occupying the body now is not Otsutsuki Jili, and Kagaya Heim can only exert the strength of the 6th level of this body at most, which can reach the level of Transcendence level 6. Level. It cannot harm Shinigami at all. Bai Lao understood, frowned and looked ahead. Shinigami, who was about to complete the breakthrough of the next god, took out a strange talisman from nowhere in his hand and threw it into the sky. Everyone looked up at the sky, only to see that in the sky, there was the 10,000-meter long blood-colored giant sword held in the 1,000-meter void by an invisible force quickly fell towards Shinigami's head again. Shinigami, who was making a breakthrough, finally felt a trace of panic in his heart. He wanted to say something or curse, but he couldn't speak, because even if he moved now, it might lead to an accident in this sure breakthrough. I can only believe that the immeasurable barrier that I have worked so hard to obtain will not be easily broken. At this moment, when everyone saw the whereabouts of the giant sword, they all gave up attacking and began to retreat. Shinigami is left to bear all this alone. Qixing also stepped back with his legs and appeared thousands of meters away in an instant. Chapter 280. Is this just a low-level god very strong? At this moment, the bloody giant sword in the sky finally hit the barrier in front of Shinigami. This time, it was like a scene of doomsday. The sky was stained with blood red, and countless terrifying explosions appeared on the sword. Even the ground of this teleportation square, which was entirely made of adamantite, could not withstand the terrifying pressure of the giant sword in the sky colliding with the barrier. Begins to collapse downward. Smoke and dust once again filled this ancient soul heaven city. Boom, bang, 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 loud noises continued to come from the smoke and dust. When the smoke cleared, Shinigami was seen kneeling on one knee in ragged clothes. The right hand is holding the sky. It seemed that he had just endured extremely terrifying pressure. And that hard barrier was probably pierced by the bloody giant sword. In the end, after the giant sword pierced the barrier, it was powerless. It just completely destroyed the artifact armor Shinigami was wearing. And Shinigami also breathed a sigh of relief. At the last moment, the giant sword was unable to succeed, and he successfully completed the breakthrough at that moment. Although the inner palace was injured, the current Shinigami is a true god. Lower god. The next second, Shinigami, who was dragging a 10,000-meter giant sword with one hand, emitted a halo of light from behind, proving that everyone's guess was correct. This guy really nailed the break. When Bai Lao saw this, he exclaimed, he really made a breakthrough, but isn't this pure land world because of the complete way of heaven? It disappeared for unknown reasons, and no lower god has appeared for 10,000 years. Shinigami heard this and said, I sneered. Foolish mortals. Thousands of years ago, I found the sealed pure land of heaven based on ancient books. At that moment, I started to make plans. Although the sealed heavens path was not complete. But at least it has endless uses. Based on the sealed form of Heaven's Tao, I created a new Heaven's Tao to complete part of the rules of this world. With the foundation of 10,000 years, I created a complete Heaven's Tao. Although I succeeded, the newly born Heavenly Tao is not as powerful as imagined. But it's worth it if you can help me break through the shackles. You have made countless plans and gathered the power of the entire world to kill me, but all of this is just a cloud after I break through to the lower god. After speaking, he looked at the bloody giant sword in his hand, but his right hand shook slightly, and a violent shock spread from Shinigami's hand to the center of the giant sword. With just this slight movement, the 10,000-meter bloody giant sword fell apart. The power of the three laws contained in it is even grasped by Shinigami. Then he tapped the air with his right hand and directly shot the power of the three laws into the sky and into the dark clouds. The nascent Heavenly Tao formed by dark clouds is like a chicken blood at this moment. The Pure Land original Heavenly Tao formed by Baiyun is in a tug of war at a disadvantage. Because of the infusion of the power of these three rules, the disadvantaged nascent Heavenly Tao successfully counterattacked. Shinigami saw this scene and stopped paying attention. He knows that as long as he is still here, the newly born Heavenly Tao will be able to successfully absorb the original Heavenly Tao. At that time, the Pure Land world will be promoted, and he can gain another point of great merit, which can at least wipe out this as a loss for giving up the breakthrough. Thinking of this, Shinigami smiled knowingly, looking at Qixing and the others thousands of meters away. Tell me, how do you want to die because you ruined my plan for a middle god? Advertisement. Everyone felt the aura around Shinigami, and when they heard what Shinigami said, they didn't dare to answer. Only Qixing stood at the front and said with a smile, "Is this just a low-level god very strong?" Shinigami was stunned. It's really useless to be ignorant. Then let me operate on you first and let you experience what real death is. After speaking, Shinigami appeared in front of Qixing instantly with overwhelming power. No one knew how Shinigami acted. Their eyes and minds did not follow Shinigami's movements at all. Only a shadow was seen where Shinigami was standing, slowly disappearing, and Shinigami's true body was standing where the 7 stars were. Then he saw that the 7 stars had been slapped into the earth by Shinigami's palm. Everyone gasped when they saw this scene. Is this the real god level? Even though it is so terrifying, I didn't notice his movement trajectory at all. At this moment, Shinigami looked at Qixing buried deep in the ground, smiling disdainfully. Are you just showing off your strength? However, everyone who has signed a contract with Qixing knows that Qixing is not dead, so they are not impulsive. At this moment, Shinigami discovered another 7 stars walking out of thin air 100 meters to the left. Seeing this, Shinigami frowned. I'm pretty sure that the one buried deep in the ground is not your clone, and this you is not your clone either. What kind of method is this? Want to learn? If you beg me, I might be able to teach you. When Shinigami heard this, he couldn't help snorting coldly. You are pretending to be a ghost. I saw how many clones you have. Come and die. After saying that, Shinigami's figure disappeared again, but the 7 stars were already on guard. The infinite air domain was activated, and countless folded spaces around them instantly appeared around the 7 stars. However, Shinigami's current state and understanding of primary space can already be easily cracked. Although Qixing's field is a top-level field, Shinigami is also an expert in space, and his realm is several levels higher than Qixing. Shinigami raised his hand and destroyed the infinite realm of the 7 stars. Instantly appeared above Qixing's head. This time it was no longer a palm, but a powerful and heavy kick, carrying a huge force. Qixing had no resistance and directly kicked Qixing 10,000 meters away. Qixing's body hit countless trees in the forest and splashed countless thick smoke before it stopped. Looking at his masterpiece, Shinigami nodded with satisfaction. However, before Shinigami could turn around, behind Shinigami, less than 100 meters away, a 7 star walked out again. 0.0.